Hey, Luke, it's me. It's your dad.
Oh, Dad. Hey, I thought being a Force ghost was only for, not awful people.
Wow, remember how I killed the Emperor to save you and then totally redeemed myself?
Listen, throwing your boss into a pit was nice and all, but it doesn't exactly make up for trying to murder me and all my friends and chopping off my hand, which was my J.O. hand, by the way, Dad. My J.O. hand.
Ah, total cats in the cradle sitch.
No time for his father he has.
What? No, that is not what this is. He's a monster. Ben, he killed you.
You need to learn to be more forgiving, just like I forgave Anakin for the thing with the kids.
Kids?
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Rollin' 20s. We are the show that, try as we might, still has not figured out how to hack away bullet wounds. I am Jeremy.
Steve. Jesse.
And V.
Remember, you can subscribe to this show and several others in the MSP library at missionstarpodcast.com. You can like us on Facebook, subscribe to us on iTunes and on Stitcher, follow us on Twitter at the Rolling 20s. You can send us any fan mail, suggestions for the show, or hate mail at mspfreight@yahoo.com. The music you heard at the beginning of the show is by Machina Supremacy. You can find most of their discography for free download at machinasupremacy.com, as well as their latest couple of albums on amazon.com. The clip you heard was Luke Will Not Forgive Anakin by Dorkly. You can find more of their videos on youtube.com. How was the week?
Pretty good.
I'm watching people on Facebook starting to panic now that two of the biggest conventions in the summer cycle are coming.
Yeah, I'm feeling that panic.
Yeah, it's amazing watching people jockey for positions on Comic-Con stuff. There's already people begging for somebody going to Comic-Con to get them some of the convention exclusives and giveaways going on.
I'm just glad I found someone to drive with over there, so I don't have to take a plane.
I feel like we should video your little drive and backdrop it against one of the theme songs from the National Lampoon's movies.
Done.
But other than that, it's fair. I've spent all day with a hot glue gun and working on my Mario jacket now that I know the Cosplay Wrestling Federation's coming to Anime Expo. So I'm burned in a few places and quite possibly high. I'm not sure. Fortunately, those places are fingers. But everything else has been pretty much standard fare. We're finally caught up on everything, and we got something new to discuss that none of us have ever read before, The Secret Wars. Before we get into that, I do not have Kickstarters for the week. However, there were two rather significant media deaths I kind of wanted to go through here. First off was the surprising one. It was the second major death in the week of Dusty Rhodes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Who's that?
Dusty Rhodes was a professional wrestler. He died at the age of 69 after complications from what appears to be just a fall in his home. It looks like he was otherwise okay. He had a nasty fall. He went to the hospital and unfortunately did not come out. And this is one of those guys that just about everybody swears up and down was one of the warmest people on earth. A lot of current wrestlers in the World Wrestling Entertainment's NXT division just swear by the guy. He's apparently the one who helped turn it from a bush league into practically its own federation. So there's a lot of guys out there that credit Dusty for where they are today. And it's really sad. I wonder how his two sons are holding up. The ones that play Goldust and Stardust, respectively, Dustin and Cody.
Yeah.
They're still on TV, last I heard. I don't know how they're doing, and I couldn't even imagine. But the death that's probably going to hit a lot more people right in the frickin' face this week has to be Christopher Lee. He passed away at 93 this week. If I remember correctly, he had respiratory problems and heart failure. Passed away last Sunday, a week ago. And IO9, being the studious people that they have, Rob Bricken put together a list of 22 facts about the life and career of Christopher Lee. I was flipping through this before the show. The man has done 20 times as much stuff as I have. I mean that literally. Fact number 1, he was entered into the Guinness Book of World Records in 2007 for most screen credits, having appeared in 244 film and TV movies by that point in his career, in 2007.
God damn, how have I only seen a small fraction of this guy's stuff?
I don't know. And at the point they made that list, he had made 14 more movies, with a 15th due later this year, titled Angels in Notting Hill. He also holds a record for the tallest leading actor at 6'5", but also for starring in the most films with a sword fight at 17.
Damn.
Holy frick. And that's just the first fact on this list of 22 facts. Number 2, his mother was an Italian contessa, though her Lee descended from the Emperor Charlemagne of the Holy Roman Empire and was related to Robert E. Lee, the Confederate general.
Wow.
Fuck, his biography has done more than I have. Item number 3, he met Prince Yusupov and Grand Duke Dmitry Pavlovich, the assassins of the Russian monk Rasputin. He didn't do this as research for a film role as Rasputin, as he did in 1966, but just as a child in the 1920s. It was just one of those chance things.
Huh.
At age 17, he saw the death and murder of Eugen Weidmann in Paris, the last person in France to be publicly executed by guillotine.
Nice.
Item number 5, get this. During World War II, Lee joined the Royal Air Force but wasn't allowed to fly because of a problem with his optic nerve, so he became an intelligence officer for the Long Range Desert Patrol, a forerunner of the SAS, Britain's Special Forces. He fought the Nazis in North Africa, often having up to 5 missions a day. During this time, he helped retake Sicily, prevented a mutiny among his troops, contracted malaria 6 times in a single year, and climbed Mount Vesuvius 3 days before it erupted.
And apparently gained the experience to know how someone's being stabbed, so he could tell Peter Jackson.
I want to know why this guy wasn't cast as Superman, for fuck's sake.
You can't fly.
Yeah, and this is item number 6. We haven't even gotten halfway into this list of 22 facts about the life and career of Christopher Lee. Item 6. At some point during the war, he moved from the LRDP to Winston Churchill's even more elite Special Operations Executive, whose missions are literally still classified, but involve conducting espionage, sabotage, and reconnaissance in occupied Europe against the Axis powers. The SOE was more informally called, and I can't believe this somehow hasn't been made into a movie yet, the Ministry of Ungentlemanly Warfare.
Wow. Yeah, that's a title.
Yeah. Oh, Jesus Christ. Item number 7. Lee never said anything specific about his time in the SOE, but he did say this, quote, "I've seen many men die right in front of me. So many, in fact, that I've become almost hardened to it. Having seen the worst that human beings can do to each other, the results of torture, mutilation, and seeing someone blown to pieces by a bomb, you develop a kind of shell. But you had to. You had to. Otherwise, we would never have won," unquote. By the end of the war, he'd received commendations for bravery from the British, Polish, Czech, and Yugoslavia governments.
Nice.
I'm astounded already. We just hit item 8 now. Speaking both French and Italian, Lee spent his time after World War II hunting Nazis with a central registry of war criminals and security suspects until he decided to give acting a try at age 25. Yes, all of this happened before Lee was 25 years old.
Fuck.
Damn. I feel inadequate now.
I know. Item number 9. While filming a sword fight with a drunken Errol Flynn during the filming of The Dark Avengers in 1955, Flynn accidentally cut Lee's hand so badly that his finger nearly came off and permanently injured. Later, Lee cut off Flynn's wig while Flynn was still wearing it. Flynn stormed off set and refused to come out of his trailer until Lee claimed it was an accident.
I love how it was claimed.
Tell me it was an accident. No. Tell me it was an accident. No. Tell me it was an accident. Fuck, you tell me it was an accident. Item number 10. While best known for his portrayal of Dracula in countless films, he's also starred as the Mummy and Frankenstein monster. Of course, he's known as Saruman in Lord of the Rings and Count Dooku in the Star Wars prequels, but his other villainous roles include Fu Manchu, Rasputin, Roquefort of the Three Musketeers, whose portrayal was so popular the character now inevitably appears with an eye patch, although it wasn't in the book. Lee introduced it. Lord Summerlees of The Wicker Man, the James Bond villain Scaramanga, Mephistopheles, and Death himself.
Nice.
Christ. Item number 11, Lee was not only related to James Bond creator and author Ian Fleming, they were step-cousins, but Lee was actually one of Fleming's first choices for the role of Bond, not least because of Lee's World War II and SOC experiences.
He would have made a good Bond. At
Probably.
least in terms of experience.
Except he was so tall he would have hit his head in every door in the damn movie.
He wouldn't fit in the Aston Martin.
And that was halfway through this goddamn list. Item number 12 of 22 things on IO9 of incredible facts about the life and career of Sir Christopher Lee. He has played Sherlock Holmes, his brother Mycroft Holmes, and also Sir Henry Baskerville of the Hound of the Baskervilles. I don't know why everyone considers the Kardashians like uncrowned royalty. This was it. I mean, shit. I'm already flabbergasted at what this man's done.
Social media didn't exist back then.
Item number 13. Tired of playing Dracula and feeling that the movies had gotten subpar, Lee tried to quit Hammer Films, but studio execs guilted him into returning by stressing how many people could be out of work if Lee stopped churning out hits. Lee agreed to star in 1966, Dracula, Prince of Darkness. He felt the script was so awful, he adamantly refused to say any of the dialogue. Hammer decided that was far more important to have a mute Lee as a star as opposed to anyone else, and thus had Dracula hiss and yell through the film. Wow, so he even took a bullet for people, basically.
Damn.
Item 14. In the 1950s, Lee was engaged to Henriette van Rosen, daughter of Count Fritz von Rosen. The Count apparently didn't like Lee because after hiring private detectives to investigate the actor and demanding references, he also refused to allow his daughter to marry him unless Lee got the blessing of the King of Sweden. And
Wow.
it ends that paragraph by saying, and Lee got it.
Nice.
Someone tells me hiring a private eye to check his history, you're not going to find much. Item 15. Lee was a major Tolkien fan, reading The Hobbit and the Lord of the Rings trilogy once a year for the majority of his life. He was the only member of the movie's cast to have met Tolkien personally. Apparently, he ran into him randomly in a pub, and fanboyed out. Tolkien actually gave him his blessing to play Gandalf in any future Lord of the Rings movie.
That's funny.
Wow.
I wonder why he didn't, go for Gandalf, because I'm pretty sure he didn't actually try out for it.
Well, let's keep going through the list, because something tells me that's in here somewhere, I bet. Item 16 of 22. 16, for fuck's sake. It feels like we've already gone through 3 lifetimes worth of stuff. When Lee heard that Hollywood was going to finally make the Lord of the Rings trilogy into movies, he took a role in the terrible 1997 TV series The New Adventures of Robin Hood as a wizard, specifically so he'd have clear evidence of his ability to be a wizard. When he heard Peter Jackson would direct the films, he sent Jackson a personal letter asking him to be in the movies, along with a picture of him dressed up as a wizard. Unfortunately, Lee's advanced age and his natural ability to play villains made him an even better choice for Saruman.
He wanted Gandalf, got Saruman.
Well, you know,
They're not going to forget. No one's going to forget his role.
I think he was a great Saruman.
Item number 17. The story has gone around a lot, but it bears repeating because it's incredible. During his death scene in Return of the King, only including the extended edition to Lee's disapproval, director Peter Jackson was describing to him what sound people getting stabbed in the back should make. Lee gravely responded that he had seen people getting stabbed in the back and knew exactly what sound they made.
Boy, you have no experience here.
Could you imagine that fat Kiwi walking up to him and telling, okay, this is what sound people stabbed in the back make, and then him towering over you looking down? I know what sound they make.
I bet she was more amiable than that.
I don't know. Somebody that's seen death that much and wanted to walk away from it, I bet you he really didn't want to fucking hear it at that moment. Peter Jackson was probably walking away hearing grumbling, should have been fucking Gandalf. Item number 18. Lee was quite interested in the history of public executions and reportedly knew the names of every official public executioner employed by England dating all the way back to the mid-15th century.
Okay.
That is heavy metal beyond heavy metal. Item 19. He's always been a big metal fan, but he released his first full heavy metal album in 2010 at the age of 88, titled Charlemagne by the Sword and the Cross, which won the Spirit of Metal Award from the 2010 Metal Hammer Golden Gods ceremony. He made a metal Christmas album in 2012. He was the oldest metal performer and the oldest musician to ever hit the Billboard music charts. Item number 20. In addition to his impossibly prolific film career, Lee was a world champion fencer, an opera singer, spoke 6 languages, and was a hell of a golfer. don't know why you add that last part in. That's just twisting the knife further. Item number 21. He was made a Knight Commander of the Most Excellent Order of the British Empire in 2009. A Commander of the Venerable Order of St. John in 1997. Made a Commander of the Order of Arts and Letters by the French government in 2011. Earned the British Academy of Film and Television Arts Fellowship in 2011. Received the Bram Stoker Award for Lifetime Achievement in 1994, and so many more.
All right, all of his accomplishments and awards can fill up our house right now.
Probably with room to spare in mine. Jeez. And the last in this list of 22 incredible facts about the life and career of Sir Christopher Lee via IO9. Last but not least, despite everything you've heard about the 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon, Christopher Lee was recognized as being the most connected actor in the world in 2008. Again, by Guinness. He connects to virtually any actor in 2.59 steps, beating Bacon.
Nice.
Wow. See, that's why nobody plays 6 Degrees of Christopher Lee. That's too fucking easy.
We want a challenge. Kevin Bacon, let's go.
That's amazing, man. This guy, he lived like 10 lives. Anybody that has like the King of Sweden on fucking speed dial, respect, okay? From that interesting piece, we'll move into video game news. E3 is this week. By the time the show goes up, I think it'll be over. And already leaks are coming out. Bethesda has accidentally announced one of their upcoming games that was supposed to be announced at E3, Dishonored 2.
Oh.
Yeah, I heard good things about that.
Damn it, I need to finish playing the first one. It's so good.
It's got tons of different endings to it.
Yeah, there was an E3 press conference, and the audio was accidentally picked up by presenter Harvey Smith, who was the co-director of the first Dishonored. And there's a speaker with a French accent named Raph Colantino, president of Arcane. Colantino is discussing an announcement where he begins speaking French, only be interrupted by Smith mid-sentence, and he's given instructions to keep speaking rather than stop after the first sentence, as his speech is so fast, the scripted interruption felt unnatural. So we already know one thing coming pretty quickly down the pipe here. Another recent announcement about video games is Disney's Infinity 3.0. We've heard that it's got Star Wars characters in it. But they're plumbing their expanded universe as it is. They've announced at least 4 characters are going to be from the Star Wars Rebels TV show. They're adding the characters of Ezra Bridger, Kanan Jarrus, Garazeb Aurelios, and Sabine Wren.
So that's most of the cast.
Just about, that's everybody but Hera and that annoying little droid.
Yeah.
I guess everybody but Hera, the droid, and Ahsoka, now that they've announced that she's back in the series.
Yep.
Another early leak was the fact that there's a new Transformers game coming, Transformers Devastation.
I've seen this. I want to play it. That would care.
It's a brawler. It's a cel-shaded brawler, believe it or not, where you're playing as one of 5 Autobots, as people have found out. Optimus Prime, Bumblebee, Sideswipe, Wheeljack, or Grimlock.
Wheeljack, really?
Yeah, Wheeljack has become almost a standard of Transformers series these days. Now that he's been depicted, as a cyber ninja of sorts.
Really? Huh.
You haven't seen the latest iterations of him in Prime and Robots in Disguise?
I haven't been watching it off the local broadcast, so he hasn't appeared in the local broadcast.
Have you guys seen the screens of this game? I had to do a double take.
I see it. I love it.
I'll just send you the general website, because when I saw it, I had to do a double take. I thought somebody was putting up promotional screens from from like the old cartoon show, frankly, as rich as this stuff looks. And you're supposed to be able to do on-the-fly transformations between vehicle and robot form during this game.
Yeah.
So this is
we
the
get to fight
actual
Devastator.
art.
Yeah, these are game screens.
Damn. I'm not personally sure I like it, but this will make a lot of fans happy.
Oh, this is very nostalgic.
Nostalgic, yeah. However, I'd like to see. I would have liked to have seen some character model updates. You know, as much as I love the original 1984 stuff, it doesn't hold up the best. You know, it's hard to believe there's a bunch of robots in disguise when they're all disguised as vehicles from 1984.
Well, if
It's like
they
they all-
make the world back in 1984, then, there you go. I would like to see some actual gameplay, though.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't argue that, but
Is that Rampage
obviously that's
Run Amok as the villain models right there?
yeah.
Not
Yeah, those are the
Rampage.
modern versions from Transformers Generations too. Runamuck and Runabout, I think.
Yeah, that was it.
But I have an actual video from Final Fantasy 15 where they debut some kind of gigantic new boss. It looks like a hog-nosed dinosaur of some sort. This is supposed to be the Catoplebus. Catoblebus. It's supposed to be a legitimate monster you can encounter during a side quest with a party member of Prompto, which sounds kind of like a... God, it sounds like an anti-inflammatory for the digestive system. Prompto. The patch also includes new animations, frame rate fixes, a bunch of new stuff including dodge rolls and party combos. Want to see a Twitch stream?
Sure.
It's under 5 minutes, thankfully. I sent it. Okay, it's nice to see you're tired in the game. See that gigantic thing off to the right?
Oh.
That's it.
Something
That's the
bad's about to
Catoblebus.
happen.
I think we saw that in
Something really bad
one of the previous iterations.
is about to happen.
We saw it in a demonstration, I think, of Ramu, but we didn't see it in actual combat. And
That's
take a look at the
Oh,
scale.
man.
Look at the scale of this thing.
really cool looking.
Let's just hope it's looking for truffles. That thing is tremendous
Wait,
in
how
a
does it
word.
have
Oh, man.
its leg?
I mean, what?
The lake.
I don't know.
Run for your lives. Wait a minute.
Guess he got
I
his
don't wanna
feet
run
stuck
from
in
that.
mud.
Yeah.
And Prompto is just standing there literally getting pushed by the dinosaur.
Well, it's nice you got a helping hand out of the lake there.
Okay,
I'm not sure
well,
that's a dinosaur.
I don't want to run.
That's-
I want to fight this guy. So
This looks
I'm
like
going
some
to
weird
do that.
hybrid thing you see in Avatar.
Yeah, it looks like a
So yes, this guy.
It's got a
rhino
boar face.
dino.
To the Final Fantasy
Yeah,
15
it's got
demo,
a face of
and
a
he
boar.
just knocked me out. But
I said it was snout nose.
Yeah, it
I
looks
have
like
a
it's
little
like
buddy.
it looks like its head was inspired by a rhinoceros, but
Let's see how this.
Oh, he's
goes.
gonna summon Ramu on him.
Oh, I don't think I'd wait. That looks like an AoE coming.
Alright,
That
looks
was
like
an AoE.
No,
Like
it was an
the-
AoE. He was just far enough away.
this is
Dude
a
definitely
weird
has a
combination.
long summon time.
that's pretty good animation.
Anytime now. Anytime. Now.
So the instructions actually say run away from the Catoplebus.
Yep.
There we go.
Oh shit!
Remu's just chilling, just hanging out for a while.
He's gonna throw him like a pair of dice.
Snake Eyes.
Okay, there's a wizard.
Hey, summon Christopher Lee.
To watch his robe.
You never played Raiden.
By the power of espionage.
And that's
pretty
how
good
the
numbers
dinosaurs went extinct.
I think it's
Still
still
alive? I'll be
Yeah.
impressed.
Oh crap!
Yeah.
It's still there.
It's still alive. It's got
I'm just cut out.
It's not
about
even
2/3
toasty.
of his health
He
left.
hasn't even lost half his health. Holy shit!
It's breathing.
Oh, he's
Start
right. It's
swinging
only
before
lost
he gets
about,
up.
it's only lost about a third of its life.
Yeah.
Sorry, 120,000 damage points, and he's not even at half health. Holy shit!
And is getting back up.
Now you
Okay,
run.
This dinosaur is hardcore.
And there's another one right over
Wow.
there.
Yeah, go get the other one. Bring it in.
In case you're wondering, the frame rate is a little bit down right now, but I don't know. Maybe I'll.
That's not a dinosaur.
Oh!
No.
Okay.
And
Like
balls.
I said,
Just
it's a mixture,
destroyed me.
a mixed creature.
Yeah, yeah.
From an
Agree.
elephant,
Let's
a
try this
boar,
one
and
more time.
a few other things.
So we're going back to the lightning guys.
How many times can you summon this guy?
I don't know. Maybe it's timed.
All right.
I don't think
Odin,
I'd stand that
you
close
didn't
to
kill
him.
him the first time, Odin.
Yep, Remu's just chilling again, just hanging out, just getting his
This
robes
is actually a
washed,
creature from mythology.
playing
Yeah.
lightning.
I'm gonna put it past them.
Gonna go visit some other
Catoblipas or
Final
something
Fantasy
like that.
games.
What?
I still wouldn't stand that
and
close
he
to
got
it.
stomped on.
Body,
What?
buffalo,
Oh!
wild boar.
He stood too close.
I just died in the middle of the summit.
Yeah, that happens.
That is...
Yep, that's what happens when you're a dumbass.
That looks like the first good Final Fantasy in a decade, man.
He got stepped on.
The most ignominious of death. Well, the final consumer version of the Oculus Rift headset is finally up for view.
Hooray!
We're still not getting a price point or raw specs. But the headset still isn't wireless. You'll need to drape a cable over your shoulder, and the Oculus company still recommends you enjoy virtual reality while seated instead of walking around. You don't want those SAO lawsuits that we saw in the beta. You'll need to plug into a reasonably powerful gaming PC as well. There will be a pair of low-persistence OLED screens, one for each eye. There's no motion blur, no judder, no pixels, says the CEO, Brendan Uribe. Quote, "It feels just like you put on a pair of glasses," unquote. The entire optics is removable, too, allowing you to install a pair of lenses that better fit your face.
Oh.
That's helpful. Every Oculus Rift will come with an Xbox One gamepad. That's interesting.
That's $80 right there.
You'll be able to stream Xbox One games like Halo, Forza, and Sunset Overdrive to the Rift. You won't be playing those games in virtual reality. You still won't feel like you're driving a Forza car, but just sitting in a VR room playing them on a big screen TV. Weird. Oculus also is working on its own motion controller, the Oculus Touch. It's a pair of controllers that wrap around each of your hands, wireless, each with their own analog stick, 2 triggers, one for your finger and one for grip motion, and 2 face buttons. Sounds like they're putting a lot of thought into this. The Rift can track them in a virtual environment with its camera and the controller's built-in internal sensors. There's those sword motions I was looking for.
So they're reinventing
Wow.
the Power Glove?
No. Kung Fury did that. This is cool, though. I mean, I'm not going to go through the minutia of all of it, but that's a lot of development talk that we finally heard instead of just a bunch of videos. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's about time. I think you guys have heard by now about the big announcement for Super Smash Brothers.
Ryu?
Apparently not.
Ryu's only half of it.
Yeah, that's the only one I remember.
Yeah. Also, Roy from Fire Emblem is being added to the game as well.
Huh, I thought
They're
he
even
had
added-
been in one of the games.
I
not
suppose
the newest
not.
one.
So it's a returning character from a previous game. Ryu, as far as I
Yeah.
know, is completely
Brand new, yeah.
Well, yeah, I imagine a Street Fighter has not been in one of these before. They've even added a new zone that looks a lot like Ryu's castle from the original Street Fighter 2.
Huh.
So there's a lot of people that are super excited about that. Not in my personal wheelhouse, but interesting. I heard that Ryu was a lead vote for the expansion by fans, anyway.
Wouldn't surprise me.
Yeah. Now, there's a new game coming out called Toy Soldiers War Chest. It appears to be a strategy RPG where you're playing as toy armies who are trying to take over a playroom.
I'm thinking you're
Okay.
Toy Soldier or Toy Story right now.
It's more like Small Soldiers. I got a video for you, a promo video by Ubisoft.
Okay.
I sent it. Tobacco reference. Ooh, we're getting down and dirty now.
This is your war chest. Prepare to defend it.
That sounds like John Hurt.
Take strategy, power, and wit to defeat your platform.
So you're literally playing as a leader of a toy army
I dig it.
Toys. But the German
in all these weird
Empire
playgrounds with German soldiers.
can
led by Kaiser Wilhelm.
Did you see that, Mr. Bubbles?
Was just defeated by
wow.
Starbright.
Oh my God,
Starbright
love it.
Princess.
This is fucking awesome, actually.
I've seen this video. Believe it or not, it doesn't end there with the army types.
Phantom, reporting for duty.
They're your cyber soldiers.
Attack! You want war? I'll give you war.
This is bizarre.
It's wonderful.
Attack!
It doesn't end there.
The Dark Lord takes
Oh,
The Dark Lord.
Oh, Warhammer.
Yeah, your fantasy
Make a
soldiers.
Necromancer and
Dragons.
sure, yeah.
Yeah. And believe it or not, it still doesn't end there with your choices. You're not limited to 4. Get this.
Oh my god!
The Masters of the Universe are playable. See the soldiers with the Man-at-Arms style armor?
Hilarious. Orcos.
Yep. Those stupid tanks.
Is that?
It's not She-Ra, I think. But believe it or not, at the end of this video, there's another reveal.
I made.
Wait. Wait. Here it comes.
G.I. Joe, baby.
Of course. Of course.
Well, no, yeah. Duh.
I sent a tweet to Bill Ratner asking him about it. Apparently none of his voice actors were involved in that, though.
Hasbro to do
However-
something with that license.
However, Ubisoft sent out a message regarding this this particular game, Toy Soldiers War Chest. There are 2 more armies still to be revealed.
Wow.
Oh.
And since they've already involved a Mattel license and a Hasbro license, some people are asking if maybe one of those armies can transform.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it seems like lately, as much League of Legends news as we try to find, more often than not, we're finding hinky and shady activity. There is a League of Legends team from the Challenger series, which is kind of like their Bush League, called Fusion. The team has been disqualified from play for relatively shady activity and not having enough members on their team.
Okay.
It's one of those bizarre things where they were trying to find a replacement. They had 3 members on their permanent team. They were looking for 3 more, and they added another player called Huhi as a substitute. Okay? Then they claimed 3 members, 9 Nintendude and Bsin, as their 3 returning players. Shortly after the deadline, 9 reached out directly to the officials at League of Legends to state that he was not intending to play with Fusion in any capacity, so he was removed from their roster. Therefore, they promoted their substitute player, Huhi, as a rostered player. Turns out, Huhi is ineligible because Huhi was picked up as a reserve player by the Major Championship Series, the LCS. And according to team rules, when you're in the LCS, you cannot be a substitute on a lower tier team without the knowledge and permission of your team, which Huhi did not have.
Oops.
So the whole team was declared inactive for the upcoming tournament they had already qualified for. This seems awfully fucking complicated for a fucking video game series.
Well, it's league rules, and you know.
And well, each tournament has a different set of rules, mostly the same, but there are a few variations.
Well, you have a chance to tell Ubisoft what you really think about the new Assassin's Creed game. Starting at E3 this week, Ubisoft has announced that Assassin's Creed players will be invited to participate in the first ever Assassin's Creed Syndicate Playtest Roadshow, with the first stop coinciding with the E3 Expo. Participants will get exclusive hands-on time with the game and share detailed feedback directly with the development team to make an impact on the final game when it releases on October 23rd. They'll also get the opportunity to see the development process firsthand while experiencing Master Assassins Jacob and Evie Fry's fight for London. They haven't even announced the rest of the dates yet, but they will be stopping in Europe at Stockholm, London, Amsterdam, Moscow, Berlin, Sydney, Midland, Paris, and Madrid. No, I'm sorry, not Midland. Milano, Italy. And the first stop is actually in the U.S.? Man, I'm not sure if that's a privilege or not.
I could try
last
Comic-Con again.
Are you kidding? I'm sure they're already planning that. I'm sure they've already figured out what they're doing for Comic-Con. They're doing an obstacle course. You're doing it.
I'm not going to wait 4 hours in that line.
4 hours, nothing. I'm sure we can shortcut that for you. And besides which, the line for the jump was shorter. Last up in the video game news was an announcement I was actually hoping for. They put a name to the new Mirror's Edge sequel. Mirror's Edge Catalyst is what they're calling it. They've released a video that I'm not going to share with you because it's frustratingly vague. All it is the character getting a new tattoo and a few first-person perspective fights. But it's nice to know they're finally marching forward with a sequel. I always loved that game. It was very unique in its day. Although it did induce a lot of fear of heights for me, man. Jumping from building to building and frequently falling down.
Yeah, I kind of felt that watching you.
Yeah. Yeah, somebody with a fear of falling, that is not a fun thing to go through. But still a great game.
Rubber.
There's always some douchebag who thinks it's because it's a wide street with few people on it, nobody will notice.
Yeah, I got a guy in a motocross way that goes up and down the street here.
Okay, from there, we will jump into the Marvel media news. We'll talk about the Marvel projects that don't fit on the comic book pages. We have a new trailer for the Fantastic Four film. It's more of a TV spot. It's a rather short video. I think it clocks in at just under a minute.
Okay.
So I'm still looking for this movie to grab me. It hasn't succeeded yet.
I'm curious enough to check it out already.
Yeah.
This could persuade me for a minute, actually.
I'd like for you all to meet four.
I see here they added the dubstep to it.
Of course.
Ready to have your minds blown? Shall I alert the fire department? I talked to four of you. Oh, there are.
Yeah, I forgot about the rock turd.
Alright, nothing I haven't...
It's nothing we haven't seen before.
Yeah.
There was nothing by way of reveal in that at all.
Except now we get to see the Human Torch on, light up.
Yeah, God. It's one of those things where now looking at it, I almost wonder if they'd be better served going the Spider-Man route and just skipping the origin story entirely. Just getting right into the heart of it.
Well, it definitely seems like they're making an action movie this time rather than...
A comedy?
Yeah.
The only character that seems really interesting to me on screen is what's her name? Sue Storm?
The Invisible Woman.
Yeah.
Probably. It's always been one of those things that's odd in comics that the character that likes to change her clothes the most often is the one that technically is seen the least. So, I don't quite know what to say about that. It's still not a high priority on my list, personally.
Agreed.
We do have a little bit of news about Season 2 of Daredevil. They've added an actor. Remember last time we talked, they were talking to Jason Statham about the possibility of Bullseye, and he suddenly pulled out of negotiations?
Yeah.
Okay, well, they've successfully talked to another actor, John Bernthal.
Mm-hmm.
That actor is going to be familiar to longtime fans of The Walking Dead. He played Shane in Seasons 1 and 2. He has been cast as another person walking around Hell's Kitchen, whose name is Frank Castle.
Yep.
I hope he doesn't irritate me like he did in Walking Dead.
Technically, he's going to be about the same shoot first, ask questions later character. Frank Castle is the real name of the character known as the Punisher.
You mean shoot first and never ask questions?
No, he asks questions, just do I need to shoot him again? That's the question. That was kind of a surprise to me. I didn't think they'd go for Bullseye and the Punisher in the same season.
Wait.
If they win at all.
Is the Punisher is part of the Daredevil verse?
He's part of Marvel.
Technically,
Well, okay, fair enough, but
he is part of the Marvel Universe, but technically, Punisher would very much be in Daredevil's kitchen. The two have had numerous run-ins in the comics over the years, usually about a difference in ideology.
Yeah.
Daredevil would stop villains brutally, but fairly, and leave their lives intact. The Punisher would kill anybody who's been a transgressor ever.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's pretty extreme difference.
He's kind of absolute.
He's the absolute anti-hero. He's had run-ins with Spider-Man, Wolverine, Daredevil, all with differences of ideology, and when you have a difference of ideology, the Punisher doesn't sit down to talk about it. He'll try and shoot you because you're in his way.
Yep.
Why have I not watched The Punisher?
Because it's a bad 80s shoot-'em-up flick.
The movies have been awful, frankly.
Oh, fair enough.
I've only liked one Punisher movie, the one with Thomas Jane, but it was the one that had the least to do with anything in the Marvel Universe, so a lot of people deride it. I don't know. I liked it, but that's because I knew going in, it's the Punisher. He's not going to do much more than pew-pew. They've also changed the title for their upcoming series coming out this October, Marvel's AKA Jessica Jones. It's now just being called Jessica Jones. They've dropped the AKA.
Why was the AKA in before? Yeah, well, I know what AKA stands for, but...
Best guess I got for you is that the character's first technical introduction in the Marvel Universe, she was the lead character in a series called Alias. You know, an AKA?
Mm-hmm.
Or also known as, I think that was a tongue-in-cheek reference to her first appearance. So, they're still marching forward, they're still releasing it, they just changed the name slightly, probably because that name really didn't mean much until I put 5 minutes worth of thought in it because you guys asked me. Other than that, I put no thought into it whatsoever. It's also been revealed that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 3 is a go, and the season will start on September 29th at 9 p.m.
Well, that's not that far away.
No, it's not. I mean, just about the time the summer dies down is when we got to get ready for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. to come. Which actually sounds really dirty now that I've said that in that format. But obviously we already know what the general synopsis of it is when we saw the end of Season 2 and the fact that, you know, fish have technically eaten the remnants of one of those fake Terrigen crystals and are going to have the ability to, or fish oil in stores is going to have the ability to create new Inhumans.
So the bitching fans have finally got what they wanted.
Yep, now we're going to be inundated with superheroes, except now they're not going to get quite what they wanted because, you know, it's the main characters are still going to be primarily the agents. There is one interesting theory that's floating around the internet about the possibility of more characters for Season 3, and I kind of like the theory. People may not know it unless they dig deep into the Marvel Universe like I do, but Daisy Johnson's first team wasn't the Avengers. It was the Secret Warriors.
Consisting of?
The Secret Warriors was a team that the original Nick Fury put together not long after he was deposed from S.H.I.E.L.D., because he wanted a team of go-getters that were off the books. He called them caterpillars. In other words, people he knew that had powers but probably hadn't realized them yet, and Daisy was his field commander. Consisted of the son of the Absorbing Man, the son of Ares, God of War, one of the sons of the original Ghost Riders, I think, one of Carter Slade's sons, or grandsons, actually. I want to say the nephew of Dr. Druid, and another character whose genealogy escapes me.
Wow.
Yeah, they were a very motley crew. They had at least one traitor. The kid, Ares' son, Phobos, scared the piss out of people. Because it turns out his power was to instill fear in others.
Right.
Of course.
Oh, and the Secret Warriors, one of them is actually Gateway's son, Manifold. The one who became an Avenger later, the one whose powers wasn't teleportation so much as quantum mechanics.
Right.
That was always my favorite part of the Secret Warriors, was when he opened a portal for himself, Phobos, and I think Hellfire, the grandson of Carter Slade.
Yeah.
They jump into it to escape Ares. Ares is just running after him, and Phobos tells him to close the portal. Okay, it doesn't really work like that. My powers work by quantum mechanics, so I do long formulas in my head, calculus and such. Unless he can do that kind of math, your dad's not getting in here. All of a sudden, Ares swings his axe, the axe breaches the portal and opens it wider for him, and Phobos looks at Manifold and says, "Yeah, my dad doesn't do math." You see, Adrian Palicki, who plays Mockingbird, or Bobby Morse in the series, also opened up a bit about Season 3. God. She spoke to the International Business Times on the red carpet at the ATX Television Festival. Quote, well, there was a potential spin-off situation that didn't end up happening. I don't know where they're going to be this year. I don't know where everyone's going to go. They never tell us.
I think it's kind of a good thing.
Yeah. She said literally, like this whole season, they were like, you have this secret. And I'm like, what's a secret? And they're like, I can't tell you. Well, how do I act? I don't know. They're like, you're not a bad guy. Oh, thanks. That's literally what I get. Unquote. So, man, they do keep them in the dark as much as anybody else. There was more casting news this week. One of the actors we already knew is going to be in the upcoming Doctor Strange film, Chiwetel Ejiofor. He's the African actor who played the assassin in the Serenity film.
Oh, yeah.
The one with the sword.
Mm-hmm.
We knew he was cast in it, but they never said what he was going to be.
Mm-hmm.
Word is they're going to cast him as Baron Mordo, one of Doctor Strange's arch nemesis.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That's a decent choice. Mm-hmm. I'm almost disappointed he's not Brother Voodoo, but beggars can't be choosers. And I know there's going to be a whole group of people on the internet who now say he can't play him, he's black. Don't give a shit, honestly.
Yeah.
The man can act.
Agreed.
In the end, that's all that matters. He can act. Speaking of acting, supposedly Marvel and Sony are coming down to their final couple of choices for the lead to be Spider-Man in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. However, well, that's the problem. It says that longtime frontrunner Asia Butterfield no longer being considered.
Oh.
So, the latest rumor is that the new contenders are Charlie Plummer, Tom Holland, and Matthew Lintz. But the other problem is that this casting is apparently taking the partnership between Marvel and Sony and straining it. They appear to be arguing over casting right now.
Oh, yeah.
Now, so the reason for that, though, is that while Marvel may be writing and directing the film, Sony is the one is handling all the finances for the movie.
Right.
So if Sony doesn't feel like they get the choice they want, obviously they can pull funding and this whole thing falls apart.
That'd be a mistake on their part.
I would say so. I mean, I understand that they have financial responsibilities here, and Sony's had it rough lately, but at the same time, considering Marvel's track record, you really just got to open the purse strings and let them run.
Yeah.
Have a little faith in the people that are making the big bucks.
Well, they've already set it up so Spider-Man's supposed to appear in Civil War, which technically I bet they could pull out of if there's any kind of problem. But then they've also got the Spider-Man standalone schedule, and you can bet if that is anywhere near successful or positive, they'll make 2 or 3 more.
Of course.
And while you're putting up money, you're going to get money. You need to let them just run with it. Their history of success is kind of insurmountable at this point.
They've been going on for the last 10 years or so?
Yeah. Arguably, in their string of films, their biggest failure so far has been Age of Ultron, which is still a $1 billion+ movie.
Yeah. Biggest failure is still breaking $1 billion.
Yeah.
That was a failure?
Critically, it did not do well. Among fans, it's not doing great. However, enough people have still seen it that it is a financial success. Out of all the movies they made, that's the one I've heard the most bitching about, read the most bitching about, but people are still spending money on it.
I don't even know what there is to bitch about it, but okay.
They wanted something different from the first film.
Yeah. Last bit of Marvel media news I have is actually about Age of Ultron. There was a secret cameo in the film that I did not know about until this week. It was revealed by Rob Bricken on IO9.
What was that?
Okay, the scene just after they picked up the scepter and made it back to Stark Tower. You remember they're doing that pan scene through Stark's laboratory while, was it Robert Downey Jr. and Mark Ruffalo are talking about the scepter, what it contains, what they're going to do. And it pans past several pieces of machinery. Turns out one of those pieces of machinery was the cameo. If you take a careful look at it, and I'll show you the exact scene that I'm talking about. Thankfully, Rob Bricken and IO9 were nice enough to actually take a still store and circle the item they're talking about.
Oh, let's see.
Take a look at this.
What is that?
I have no idea.
Okay, actually I got the time frame wrong. This is just before the hammer joke from the end of the party. Okay, you don't know what you're looking at? Is that what I heard?
Looks like a backpack strap.
Okay, well, let me read a quote from Anime News Network that explains this. Quote, Whedon is a big fan of Studio Ghibli and the films of Hayao Miyazaki, and wished to incorporate an homage to the studio in this film.
You know,
Permission to use this robot was secured after Whedon used John Lasseter, the chief executive officer of Walt Disney Animation Studios, and a friend of Miyazaki as a go-between.
I was thinking
This is the
Marvel
robot-
reference, but that was the first thing
No,
that came.
this is from Laputa, Castle in the Sky.
Yes, I was thinking when you say cameo, I was thinking of something from Marvel. When I saw it, the first thing came to mind was that movie, but I didn't think that was right.
I
Yeah,
still
the
haven't
robot-
seen the movie, so
Neither have I, but I know the robot. I sent you guys a still store image of the robot that it references.
Oh, okay, that makes much more sense. It's like, how is that a robot?
It's a robot from 1980s anime. Which is about as real as anything, I suppose. So it's just one of those weird things that Whedon wanted to send a, I don't know about message, but just an homage to Studio Ghibli.
interesting.
Yeah, I imagine that's something a lot of people miss. From there, we get into DC media news. We talk about the DC properties have made it to TV, video games, movies, and all kinds. We actually have 2 pieces of news about Flash casting. First off, the CW is looking for a new actress to add to play the character they've codenamed as Wendy to the series, who is supposed to be spunky, fun, and funny, and supposed to be another love interest for Barry Allen on the show. As part of a reference, CW name-checked another character from another series in the casting notes, saying, quote, "Think Felicity Smoke from Arrow," unquote.
Is that...
I really hope you don't use that as a benchmark, because I understand people love the series. I understand people love the character. She's actually made it into DC Comics. The few episodes of Arrow I've watched, I would really like to hit her in the head with a hammer.
Oh my god, I love her.
She annoys me to no end.
I wouldn't want to see a duplicate of the character, though, because a duplicate character wouldn't be interesting.
Well, that's not the only casting they're doing. They're also looking for a character they're calling John Clark, which is probably a placeholder name. They're looking for someone, quote, "classically handsome, a square-jawed hero," unquote. The odd thing is Newsarama pulled apart the name John Clark, and they said that John Clark is actually the name of a longtime letterer for DC Comics who worked on such titles as Infinity Inc. and All-Star Squadron. All-Star Squadron also had a character in it named Jay Garrick.
Who's that again?
Jay Garrick is the first Flash from DC Comics.
First Flash in the universe chronology, I think.
No, actually, the first one to appear.
Okay.
You got to remember that whole time frame from Earth 2. Those are actually the first heroes to carry those names. Like Scott, I think it was Scott Allen was the first Green Lantern, and so on.
Back when you couldn't affect anything that was yellow.
Actually, no. The first Green Lantern had nothing to do with aliens. He had the mystic, I think it was called the Lightheart gem.
Oh.
And his weakness was wood.
That was the next thing I was going to say, to be honest.
Yeah, he couldn't affect wood. Joseph Gordon-Levitt finally has given an update on the Sandman project for DC. He said, quote, "It's really good, man. It's slow, but it's steady. It's a really complicated adaptation because those comics, they're brilliant. They're not written as a whole. It's not like Watchmen, which is a graphic novel that has a beginning, middle, and end. Sandman was written over the course of whatever, I forgot exactly, 6 or 7 years. One at a time. One little 20-page issue at a time. And try to take that and make it into something that's a feature film, a movie that has beginning, middle, and end. It's complicated. Big, spectacular action movies are generally about crime fighters fighting crime and blowing shit up. This has nothing to do with that. And it was actually one of the things that Neil Gaiman said to me. He said, don't have any punching. Because he never does. If you read the comics, Morpheus doesn't punch anybody. That's not what he does. It's going to be like a grand, spectacular action film, but that relies on none of those old, ordinary cliches. So that's why it's taking a lot of time to write, but it's going to be really good, unquote.
This has the potential to be quite awesome or quite bad.
I know, but the description is incongruous because they say they're writing an action film that has no action.
So making a horror
Isn't that
film
what
that's
he
not
said? I understand the Sandman is a mental trip, but I mean, you can't go in thinking you're going to write an action film that has no action in it. That is the most Yoda I've ever heard when it comes to writing films.
Well, hopefully his ideas translate to screen more than they do to words.
I hope so. I like Joseph Gordon-Levitt. He's a very intelligent guy, seems to be a fun-loving guy, but at the same time, it's just the description is weird. Melissa Benoist went on Instagram in her Supergirl costume. She's the one playing the title character in the role.
Mm-hmm.
And she held up a sign on Instagram that had the numbers 10/26/15. It appears that's going to be the release date for the new Supergirl series, October 26, 2015, on CBS. So it looks like it's going to be a heavy fall when it comes to DC TV.
So that's going to happen right before Kamikaze, then.
Yeah, essentially. I wonder if there will be a coordinating panel. Can only guess. We also have a new image of the of several mannequins wearing the title characters' costumes from Batman v Superman, including Wonder Woman. We also have a synopsis for Batman v Superman. It says, quote, fearing the actions of a godlike superhero left unchecked, Gotham City's own formidable, forceful vigilante takes on Metropolis's most revered modern-day savior, while the world wrestles with what sort of hero it really needs. And with Batman and Superman at war with one another, a new threat quickly arises, putting mankind in greater danger than it's ever known before.
So it's going to start off like Dark Knight Returns, then turn into a traditional... Yeah.
Then it's going to turn to an issue of Batman Superman.
Exactly.
I will send you the link to the whole webpage, and sending you the individuals would be kind of pointless. We've already seen a lot of the Batman costume from the Suicide Squad filming. We've seen a lot of the Superman film if we were able to choke down Man of Steel. This is the first full-color, like, you know, straight-up images I've seen of the Wonder Woman costume.
What's with the hem of the... Oh, it's a V shape.
I will
the what?
Be honest that...
The skirt short thing she's wearing.
Ah, okay.
I will be honest, that thing on her upper arm seems like it might be painful.
Yeah, that
could be, but
her.
fortunately there's no joints there. It's way up on the arm.
Yeah, but if she moves her arm wrong, that's gonna, like, dig in.
Yeah, it's gonna dig in.
What's the point of it? I guess it's like a gauntlet.
No.
I guess. I'm curious now that I see the costume. I see the golden lasso on the opposite hip there. I wonder I wonder if that's going to be working in the film. That's a complicated weapon to translate to screen.
Honestly, the only parts I really like about this costume are the gauntlet things and the boots. Aren't bad.
Yeah, I like the sandals. However, it's one of those impractical type items. That's something that could come off relatively easily.
Well, I don't mind her having heels, and at least it's not like little tiny heels. She's actually got full contact, but...
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you. They're flat sandals and everything. It's not the issue with the style of... Well, no, those are heels. It's not my issue with the type of boots, just the practicality of them.
Yeah.
Although the red hooker boots wouldn't do much better for me in this case.
You know, at least they're functional bits of armor.
Yeah.
Yeah. Last bit of DC media news I have are more pics from the set of the Suicide Squad. However, this appears to be a couple of pictures of Jared Leto on his way to the set trying to hide as the Joker. And this makes me more uncomfortable for the movie. This makes me less likely to go see it. I realize, like I said, it's between scenes. It looks like he's on his way, but now we get a good look at the Joker's face, and I'm not digging this. I think the contacts are too bright. That's a really bright green in his eyes.
Yeah, that's inhuman looking.
Yeah, that's definitely not a color you usually find in nature. It looks like the Joker has meth mouth.
It's the grill, I think, again.
Oh, the grill was on the upper teeth. That's not the lowers.
I don't know. I wasn't planning on seeing this movie. I am less likely to now.
Yeah.
You see that gigantic tattoo on the back of his hand holding that robe together?
Yeah.
Wow. They've really gone for loud when it comes to this one, haven't they?
It seems like this is being marketed to teenagers.
It may be. However, this is supposed to be one of the first corners of their expanded cinematic universe. This is all supposed to fit together.
Who is DC getting to helm this again?
Warner Brothers.
Well, I meant director.
I actually don't. I forgot who's directing the film. Although I don't know what input the director has on character design.
Well, I would hope
I guess
a lot.
that'd be the big question. Not enough, it seems. We have some general media news. We'll talk about the nerdy TV and movie projects that don't quite fit into Marvel and DC's arenas. First one is a callback to last week. We got a reaction now by John Carpenter in regards to the remake of Big Trouble in Little China with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson. He actually had an interesting response. Quote, 20th Century Fox owns the rights. I only know what I read in the papers. I am not involved with it. In response to fans telling me to hang tough, I'm doing fine. I didn't write the original one. No harm, no foul, unquote. So his response is pretty close to, whatever. That's the long and short of it. He just doesn't seem to really give one.
Right, David Ayer is directing Suicide Squad.
Never heard of him.
David, I've heard
Fast
that
and
name, although I
Furious
don't
Training
know.
Day.
Oh.
I liked one of those.
End of Watch Fury.
I liked one of those.
Yeah.
That's all I got. I've only liked one of his movies. The Fast and the Furious was not my thing.
He wrote SWAT.
He wrote Training Day, screenplay Dark Blue, SWAT, Fast and Furious,
So he wrote it, he didn't actually
U571,
direct.
wrote Training Day, Harsh Times, End of Watch, Sabotage, Fury, and Suicide Squad, apparently.
Oh, he wrote this too. So it is his fault.
Yep.
Okay. Okay, we have a statue here.
Oh.
There is a statue of the original character concept of Hellboy, based off work by Mike Mignola. Holy cow, what Hellboy was and what he turned into are two very different things. Check this out. This is unrecognizable compared to what it became.
Oh, wow, yeah. Aren't you doing another movie?
No. Ron Perlman has said on Twitter he's interested in doing another film, but he needs fan outcry to make it happen. No one's trying to fund a third one. But this Hellboy statue from the original character drawings will be a 12-inch statue that comes in two variations. The color one and black and white, which is closer to the comics themselves. This statue will set you back $200. The black and white version will set you back $225. Doesn't say who did it. It's a very good recreation, though. Looks very faithful to the original drawing. Now, how would you like to see a fan of the Goonies go way too far?
Okay.
There's a man named Mike Johnson. He's got a video that's about 4 minutes long here. For the 30th anniversary of Goonies, he made his own pinball machine for it.
Huh?
He made a custom Goonies pinball table.
Okay.
I sent the video.
My name's Mike Johnson. We're here in
Wow, that mustache is fierce.
Holy crap.
Yeah.
First Goonies pinball machine.
It looks like it's trying to get away. Oh, there. Wow. He built an honest to God, like, retail style pinball game out of it.
Yeah, shit.
I've never actually seen the Goonies.
Really?
Really?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, my
That's
obsession
not
with
bad.
Pinball probably just
I would actually recommend it. It holds up fairly well. Not perfect, but
I
fairly
intend
well.
to watch it eventually.
I don't know if I can actually.
It'll have a lot of people you're familiar with.
Saw Goonies, but that would have been.
Although they're mostly in
5
kid
or
form.
6. It came out in 1985. Yeah, in the past 30 years, I've.
And besides which, being made in 1985 would be like watching a time capsule for you.
I liked 1985 or 1980 movies. Generally.
1985.
19.
Spielberg presents
Oh, he
The Goonies,
did that?
Yeah.
a Richard Donner film.
Yeah. Spielberg presented a Richard Donner film, so.
And it's kind of become one of those.
So Richard Donner, the guy who directed the second Superman film, made this movie.
Still to this day, so always thought a Goonies machine would be super cool. The music's great, the sound, you could have some really.
I gotta give him credit. He looks like a retail machine. I wonder if he'd be willing to sell
It
those.
wasn't a Goonies pinball machine to begin with, so I had the theme in mind. first before I was like even.
I cannot get past his mustache. That is way out of place compared to the rest of it.
Was cabinet artwork. Basically, just kind
Isn't
of
it? His hair is so neat and trimmed, and that mustache looks like it is trying to take over.
That, you know, I'm not an artist by any means. I'm not a graphic designer, but I've got some great friends that were able to help me out.
Oh, I was about to say, he says he's not a graphic designer, but all that stuff is there? Holy shit, man, that's a nice first try.
And I've been playing it for quite a while, and I was like, man, this could really work. So the way I kind of work the story is that upper playfield is kind of.
You think he can reach out and grab cups with his face?
And there's 2 ball locks up there, so you lock ball number 1. And
oh, look, it has baby roof on it.
Before you hit the ramp, and it unlocks multiple.
Oh god!
So I was like, well, that's kind of cool. If it's
the pictures of peril.
And you lock ball 1 and
chunk
ball
in the
2,
soda. God damn, he
like the kids.
Wonder who he employed for this.
On the pirate ship.
Beware of booby traps. Sweet!
Going up the ramp and unlocking multiple would be kind of representing Chunk and Sloth coming in.
This is insane detail.
So then it kind of
yeah, he really put some thought into the design of this table.
They probably filmed that on Disney.
From the start, I really wanted everybody to enjoy it. And that means playing it too.
The Goonies video game?
I'm pretty sure he made that.
Was there a
yes,
Goonies
there was a
video
Goonies video
really
game.
wanting to do something with the Goonies, a Goonies themed art show at the bar, and
oh, he set it up for a themed night at a bar.
To do that too, because we can kind of line it up with the 30th anniversary.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah,
you know, that reminds me of when we sat down at Whiskey Girl, dude.
Yeah.
Watching people play it and playing it myself. So since day one, I really just
You weren't there, Jesse. Steve and I were randomly looking for food.
Something that they won't be able to play anywhere else.
But all 4 of us will be there. Maybe we can sit down and have dinner a couple nights.
Yeah, good food.
Yeah? I don't mean just there, I just mean in general. That's actually pretty awesome. I gotta give the guy credit. That's a lot of love and work. Oh, let's see. There's also a sneak peek that's been put out just in still form of Kung Fu Panda 3.
Oh. Later next week, or this coming week, is going to be an actual trailer for it.
I realize that's coming. I figured that was going to coincide with the E3 week. You know, a lot of nerds are at their computers trying to get the scoop on their friends during that particular week. It's a good time to put things out on the net. But we have learned that Bryan Cranston from Breaking Bad is going to play Poe's father, who has survived the Panda-geddon, I guess, as well as a new character being played by Rebel Wilson, who's into fan dancing. Another panda named, let me see, Lee. No, Lee is his father. Rebel Wilson's playing Mei Mei, who is a wannabe ribbon dancer. Fox said in their recent sneak peek, this does not turn out to be a panda love story.
I hope not.
Quote, yeah, quote, Poe's a little freaked out since he's never been around a female of his own species, says Jack Black. I don't think he has a game yet in the realm, unquote.
What are the other voice actors going to be coming back for this?
I would hope so. However, I still think it was kind of a crime that we didn't get more of the villain from the first movie. I thought he was great.
Well,
I fucking forget his name now.
But there's no reason that he couldn't still be alive.
I didn't say there wasn't. They haven't even talked about him since the end of the last movie. The second film wasn't even a thought.
And if you watch the actual TV series, they do mention him quite a bit.
Oh, that's because he has a son that showed up in that series. You know, I missed him from the first series because honestly, by the end of it, I felt sorry for him. All that shit was put upon him. Everybody expected him to be this thing. Tried to be this thing, didn't work out, and he got ditched. Oh well, that's me though. We have a new trailer too for a non-comic book related project, Disney's Zootopia.
I saw that. That looks interesting.
Well, it's a new anthropomorphic movie about animals in place of humans in an animal society. You guys got a couple minutes?
I guess so.
Mm-hmm.
Oh.
Guess so? Where are you going?
Tai Lung. That was the name of the villain.
Yeah.
Tai Lung. Thank you. Yeah, love Tai Lung. I sent the trailer. Appropriate for all audiences. Thank you, Disney.
I saw this earlier in the week. It was a fun one. Made me interested.
In the world of Zootopia, humans never happen. Which makes Zootopia...
Humans never happen, which means the world is just fine.
...that is entirely animal. That is an animal.
Thanks for the definition of animal, a-hole.
Are anthropomorphic. That is just a big fancy word that means they walk around on 2 feet. They do not go to work nude. Almost. And they use technology.
That's a lot of animals. It almost looks like Dumbo back there.
Zootopia. Large and small, fast and slow.
And new.
But the truth is, Zootopia isn't perfect. And just like our world, not everyone gets along.
And Trip the Rabbit.
Especially natural enemies.
Yeah, foxes are always dicks with rabbits.
Which can create some issues.
And the rabbit's cop.
But nature always gives animals special skills to survive, and while one may have amazing night vision, another may have incredible hearing. And an air-powered elephant tranquilizer. So now you know. Zootopia.
I want to see this.
Like
Yes, I really do.
Yeah, I actually like Disney movies.
That trailer did its job. I want to see it.
Take the kids.
I wonder if they're already working on the parks to adapt rides and stuff. Netflix is adding to their original series empire by adding 5 new shows upcoming. They're adding a preschool series called Cirque du Soleil Luna Petunia.
Okay.
It's a new series supposed to debut in the fall of 2016, aimed towards kids. They're adding Kulipari, an army of frogs, based on the trilogy of books by NFL star Trevor Price. That sounds very kid-oriented. Puffin Rock, set on an island off the coast of Ireland. Series revolves around charismatic and plucky young Puffin Una with her curious little brother Baba. Also sounds like it's meant for kids. The one that really stuck out, though, is Edgar Rice Burroughs' Tarzan and Jane in the second half of 2016. Quote, in a modern-day remake of the classic characters, 16-year-old Tarzan returns from the African jungle to a London boarding school where he meets Jane, who helps him solve environmental injustice, crimes, and mysteries. The 8-episode season comes from 41 Entertainment and executive producer Avi Arad, which are also developing Kong King of the Apes, original series and feature-length film for Netflix, with animation by ARC Productions.
You know,
unquote.
Flipping the book on it sounds interesting until you say they're solving environmental problems.
I don't know. It says 1916. I don't know what environmental problems there are. No, it's a modern-day remake, so I guess it's supposed to be a modern Tarzan.
Yeah, like I said, the modern, flipping the book sounds interesting until you said, environmental problems. Like, I've watched enough Captain Planet.
I don't know. Could be interesting either way.
Yeah, I'll give it a shot.
It's one of those things. I'll give it a shot because the environment is one of those issues that needs addressing. I just don't know if it needs addressing in this form.
Yeah.
Last bit of general media news I have is a new TV spot for the latest James Bond film, Spectre, the 24th film in the James Bond franchise starring Daniel Craig. This one actually gets a glimpse at the Bond girls, Léa Seydoux and Monica Bellucci. Were you saying for Daniel Craig shirtless or for Bond girls
Monica
shirtless?
Bellucci is hot.
I gotta remember what keywords make these sounds, because sooner or later I want to say enough of them to put together a compilation noise.
Chris Hemsworth?
So the worst part is, if I can find enough of them and string them together, it probably sounds like sex in some kind of animal form.
Put it on YouTube, and it would be hilarious. Oh my god.
I sent the trailer.
And now I've given you an idea. Damn it.
I know, I love ideas.
There's a bit of news that I've heard throughout the week. I hope you get put out.
And Lion Roar.
Release this.
What is it?
Oh, that's right. MI5 was destroyed.
Yeah.
Or no,
You have a
MI6.
secret. Something you can't tell anyone.
Oh, great. So Spectre's all about Bond fulfilling M's last wish. That always goes well.
You're a kite dancing in a hurricane, Mr. Bond.
Wasn't Spectre supposed to be like the original adversaries for MI6?
They were in the James Bond novels. Spectre was this shadow government organization that I thought was replaced by Quantum. I guess Quantum was an arm of Spectre, it seems. Wow. a whole lot of quick stills here of some pretty heavy shit.
It's a Bond film. What do you expect?
Yeah.
I'm still not used to the tenor of Daniel Craig as Bond, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's just he still comes up with these frighteningly low-tech and brutal ways to take out his adversaries compared to the others.
Were they trying to go back to how the novels were?
I guess you could say they rolled it back. Daniel Craig's entire run as Bond has been very low-tech and straightforward. There haven't been a whole lot of quips. It's been a bunch of scenes of him running from place to place, occasionally without a shirt, and just beating the shit out of people, often to his detriment.
Yeah. I'm still not sure. Like, I think he's doing a great job as a Bond, but he's still not my favorite Bond.
He's not my favorite either. That's going to be hard to take away from Sean Connery in my book. However, he has done a great job with what he's been given.
My favorite is Pierce Brosnan. Brosnan. I was never. Yeah.
Brosnan.
I was trying to say Brosnan. It just didn't come out of my mouth right.
Yeah, you do know why Brosnan's stint as Bond was relatively short compared to his ability? No, Remington Steele, actually.
Who's that?
What happened was back in the 80s, Pierce Brosnan was one half of an ensemble cast on a TV show called Remington Steele. He played the title character. And then when his contract was coming towards an end, MGM started to look at him as their next Bond. They wanted him to take over after Roger Moore. You know, they wanted to slot him in where Timothy Dalton ended up. What happened, though, was because of all the hype surrounding Pierce Brosnan, the TV company that was making Remington Steele re-signed him to this long, extended, expensive contract because the hype was just running people like crazy towards their TV show. So his window shortened tremendously by the time he actually found time to be James Bond.
Interesting. I really liked him as a Bond.
Honestly, I thought he just decided that he was getting too old to be Bond. Kind of similar to Sean Connery.
Well, that's how he finished it, but like I said, his window was tremendously shortened because of the Remington Steele re-upping.
Right. Well, I mean, honestly...
He didn't get in it near as early as he wanted to.
Honestly, Remington Steele had been over for a long time before they added him into it again.
Yeah, because, like I said, he lost his window. Timothy Dalton got his start. We have some Marvel comic news. Believe it or not, there is a new Star Wars spin-off series coming via Marvel. And it's one of those things that's very logical, however you never expect it to happen. Coming out as of, I believe, this fall, the former steward of Cloud City, Lando Calrissian, is getting his own series. There's no real synopsis as to what's going on, except he manages to run into his Mandroid friend again, and the two of them are on some kind of mission for the rebellion. He meets up with a character called Lobot, which is about as generic as a name as you could ever find for a guy who has 3 scenes in all of the movies. Remember the guy with the bizarre cyber headset? Yeah, that's who I'm talking about. And of course, some of the few pages they've released to preview this is Lando Calrissian sitting on a bed talking to a woman he's obviously just spent time with, who pulls a gun on him. Oh, that Lando.
I don't think he's surprised by it.
Second bit of Marvel comic news I have is that there is I don't want to say a spin-off, but a special coming out of Secret Wars, Squadron Sinister, based on the evil version of the team of Hyperion, Warrior Woman, Nighthawk, a bunch of Justice League allegories. Mm-hmm. The thing that makes this kind of different, though, is that it's being written by Mark Guggenheim. Mark Guggenheim is the showrunner for Arrow.
Huh.
I'm interested.
Yeah. He's calling it a sweeping crime epic. It's supposed to tell the story of what happens in Battle World territories being run by hardened supercriminals.
I'm not sure I care.
I'm on the fence.
The description doesn't
Squadron
excite
Sinister.
me.
I know. I've never been a fan of Squadron Sinister, but it's one of those things that when written well, those characters really do come into their own. I knew Marvel was making coloring books every now and again, however, this one is a bit beyond me. Marvel is making adult coloring books. And no, that doesn't mean that Captain America's wiener is hanging out in anything, okay?
I was immediately thinking that. Damn it.
they're coming out with coloring books based on art from a couple different Marvel books, including the Civil War and Scotty Young's A-Babies versus X-Babies.
Okay.
Yeah. They're even coming out with an Age of Ultron coloring book.
That just seems weird to give to kids.
I don't know if that's for kids, though. I think these are meant more for adults.
Okay.
These strike me as the kind of things that are probably going to be both paper and digital.
Honestly, if someone handed me a coloring book and, like, anything to draw with that was colored, I would, color it. If I was watching.
To be honest, the line art from the comics is kind of... I'm surprised they didn't do this far more often, actually.
It's probably one of those things where no one's ever really put thought into it, because when you're a comic book producer, you don't want people drawing in your books. That doesn't do anything to the value. So I'm guessing this is more of a Disney influence later on, now that Marvel's got some capital freed up. This sounds like one of those things where, let the kids go play in Disneyland. I will sit here and be quiet for a little while, okay? See, that's actually all of the Marvel comic news, so we'll move into DC comic news. And the first one is, I don't know, it's a surprise, but it isn't. Word is that as of the third issue of the Martian Manhunter series, the Martian Manhunter may be dying again.
Again?
The character died as a result of one of the recent crossovers pre-Flashpoint. And came back, I think, after the end of Blackest Night.
As a Black Lantern?
As a Black Lantern, and then eventually reincarnated at the end of the series. I don't remember what happened at the end of Blackest Night because of how disinterested I was halfway through the series, okay? All he says is that they're kicking off the title with a story that will question John's loyalties and an attack on Earth by the dangerous shape-shifting white Martians. And the discovery that he himself is a Martian Manhunter may be part of their plans. Martian Manhunter is one of those characters that is highly powerful, but never really seems to stick well with readers, He doesn't sustain his own series too long, from what I recall. It's also been announced that September is going to be Green Lantern month. For the 75th anniversary of the Green Lantern character, they're going to release a bunch of variants with the Green Lanterns as the stars. What? What does that noise mean?
I was just expelling a breath. That was not timed.
That made it sound more painful than anything else.
It sounded like disinterest.
Yeah. It's one of those things that is bound to come around, though. I mean, we've already heard about the 75th anniversaries of Batman and Superman in prior years. Green Lantern's mythos has to be around that old.
I still have yet to read or see a single Green Lantern thing ever.
If I can make a suggestion, if you have time, find the Sinestro War. That was really good.
Comic series, I assume.
It was a comic miniseries. Sinestro, for the longest time, had been the only Yellow Lantern who's powered by fear, and up until that time was a natural enemy and weakness of Green Lanterns. But as of this book, it was the first time there was a rival Lantern Corps that showed up. All based on people's worst fears. Some of them were snipers that could kill somebody from 3 star systems away. It's a frightening amount of power in the book. It just... The whole idea of ring slingers, though, started to get watered down after that when there were suddenly 7 different corps. It became a bit much. And we've also found out a bit about the new Batman. They finally released Batman 41 this week. Jim Gordon's first issue as the Bat. In that gigantic power armor, if you recall. Well, it was interesting, because in the last page of the book, you see Jim Gordon, who's had his first successful sortie. He's just walking around ruminating. There's a guy sitting on a bench in a flannel shirt with some disheveled hair. And in the last couple panels, he walks by, does a double take, turns around and says, "Bruce, is that you?"
Yeah, no.
Didn't wait too long to pull that trigger, did they?
So he's not dead.
You knew he wasn't dead in freaking comic books, man. Come on.
Of course.
They're going to release some movies soon. This isn't going to be permanent. As much as it probably should last for a good couple of years, though. A lot of the early reviews on this first appearance of Jim Gordon's Batman have been pretty positive. Well, we had a discussion about it last week. This is the first time in a long time that whoever's carrying the Batmantle doesn't have some kind of long-standing connection to Bruce Wayne or his cadre. It's an actual fresh take on Batman for once. And one where just being Batman is not good enough to get you out of situations.
And they're still going to shoot guns at you.
Yeah, but one thing I didn't know, though, is that this Batman has 2 costumes.
Really?
Yeah, well, we've all seen the gigantic bat armor, right? The rabbit ear bat. Turns out that when he's in this thing, he's wearing a smaller costume on the inside of body armor. Take a look at this. I was not aware of this.
Oh, that's interesting.
That's what he wears while in the suit.
I'm guessing that's what he has to do when he has to go inside buildings that aren't big enough to fit the damn suit.
Is anyone else disturbed by the flatness of the groin region?
Can't say I really spent a lot of time thinking about that. Is that where your eyes gravitate at all times? So is this guy looks or not?
I imagine it's the suits also act as an interface for the larger piece.
Oh, very much, but you also have to have an emergency plan. I imagine this is probably a bunch of circuitry and armor to protect him in case there is something wrong with the gigantic suit he's carrying around.
Fallback plan.
Yeah. That, and I'm sure that it's also easier to get through a door as this than it would be in the gigantic
Does he
thing.
actually have chevrons on the other shoulder? Yeah, he does.
He's got some kind of symbol, probably something to do with the police department. So, interesting choice. I give DC full credit. This is the most interesting design I've seen for Batman in years.
And he doesn't have a cape.
Yep. We have a bit more DC comic news. First off is the fact that in the... we know that there's comic books right now based on the old Adam West 1966 Batman series.
Oh, I know what you're going to say.
Okay, what is it?
They're adding Harley Quinn into it.
They've already added Harley into it. The debut happens as of issue 62. It's a digital digital first series of Batman 66. But they've actually added Harley Quinn's own origin story, which is quasi-Joker, I guess is the right word for it. It turns out that the brilliant psychiatrist Harleen Quinzel hooked her mind into a machine to stop it from destroying the city, but what it did was twist her intelligence to make her more intelligent yet more twisted than the Joker. I read the first few pages of the preview for this. It was kind of disturbing to see this character who had outclassed Batman to the point where she activated the ejector seats on the Batmobile to force him into the tree just so she could taunt him. And then she ended this long-winded sentence with a yuck. Like she almost forgot to add in crazy. I gotta admit, this character is really bent, but kind of interesting. Last bit of DC comic news I have is an interesting revelation, I guess you could say. The series writers for Harley Quinn, Jimmy Palmiotti and Amanda Conner, they had a hashtag chat over the official DC Comics Twitter about the character. And someone asked if Harley Quinn and Poison Ivy were girlfriends. And the response was, quote, "Yes, they are girlfriends without the jealousy of monogamy. We love that they are best friends ever. Ivy is Harley's rock. When Harley falls in love, she falls hard and loyally no matter who they are," unquote.
That's kind of sidestepped the issue of any romantic involvement there.
A bit, yeah. That's the kind of the problem of that revelation, is that it's interesting that Harvey and Ivy would actually be girlfriends. However, as much as there's never been any real revelations in the comics that lead to the idea that they would be in some kind of active relationship.
Now, aren't the characters both straight?
They're both straight. They're both straight as far as I know.
They did have a team up at one point, as I remember.
In the TV show, which led to a couple in the comics and blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. So I think that's where they're drawing that from.
Yeah, but the relationship, as far as I've understood it, has always been closer to gal pals and girlfriends. Yeah. So for them to be girlfriends now, nothing wrong with that. It would just be kind of a jarring retcon at this point if they suddenly started smooching in comics.
Yeah.
You know, if you want to have that relationship, fine, just develop it. That's all I ask. But then again, we've seen DC's
stance
history when it comes to LBGT characters has not gone well.
Probably the less said, the better.
Yeah, That's one of those things where you almost fly under the radar. Just write it out and hope they take it. That sounds awful, talking about gay characters, but okay. I'm going to go with it now that I've said it. We have general comic and convention news. We'll talk about the comic book as well as convention news cycles that's coming. And of course, as you would expect in this time frame, Comic-Con is pretty much dead center in everyone's sights at this point. For people who can and cannot get there, there's a lot of people who are annoying individuals online trying to get them to pick up exclusives for them because they can't make it to Comic-Con.
I want to do a finder's fee.
Oh, Awesome Toy Blog is your place then, because they put up their website that lists all of the Comic-Con exclusives being put out by different companies. And the list right now, as it stands, looks to be at least 100 items long. Of just items you can only get inside the convention. Some of the more interesting ones, though, we'll go through a bit of the news articles that have come out regarding exclusives. LEGO actually has their own Comic-Con exclusive this year.
Really?
Including an Age of Ultron-inspired set that includes Ultron in his throne in the middle of the church with 3 of his drones. It only costs $40, and it's a 203-piece set. I don't know, Lego Ultron isn't quite as scary as I expect. Gentle Giant, Steve, you might find this interesting. They're coming out with a G.I. Joe Deluxe Jumbo figure inspired by the vintage Hasbro G.I. Joe. An updated version includes a wooden footlocker packaging and can be pre-ordered now by Gentle Giant Premier Guild members.
Well, I never owned the original. I was far more into the Hasbro toys, but...
Oh yeah, they're also adding a micro 2-figure pack, which is a take on iconic characters in miniature form. This set includes Snake Eyes and Rock and Roll. Comes packaged in their retro-style packaging, just like other Gentle Giant exclusives. But they're mini version, so I guess it's something that's just good to hang on a wall and say, ha, I remember when I was a kid.
Yep.
Funko has their own exclusives, and I'm sure these are going to be hard to get. Funkos, I don't understand the appeal of Funkos, but the lines for these things have been tremendous.
That Loot Crate exclusive you get rid of sold pretty fast.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it did. Once I put it out there, man, I'm surprised somebody didn't kill me. But some of the Funko exclusives they have are Jason Voorhees, Ted from Ted 2, Cosmic Deadpool, Little Gruesome from Hanna-Barbera, French Mistake Castiel from Supernatural, Captain America Unmasked from Age of Ultron, Golden Frieza from Dragon Ball Z.
I saw that.
Lightning McQueen in Dinoco version.
Huh?
Rocket Raccoon, Sadness from Inside Out, a Golden Bender from Futurama, the 12th Doctor in a spacesuit, Infrared Boba Fett, Deadpool with a chimichanga truck. These are all exclusives you can pick up at Comic-Con. Bandai even has some exclusives coming out. They have a special 7-piece set of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Dino Charger Power Packs for $30. They even have a chibi version of the White Ranger for $25, and a Doraemon from the animated series Doraemon. Jesus Christ, man. People are coming out with all kinds of stuff. Even Udon's getting in on it with a special exclusive $100 Capcom Fighting Tribute book of their art, featuring Capcom fighting characters from Street Fighter, Darkstalkers, Captain Commando, Red Earth, Rival Schools, and more. One of the artists from the book will even be on hand for signatures. There will only be 300 copies of this book available at Comic-Con. Which means they'll probably beat you to death with the book to get it.
Is it hardback?
Yes.
Okay, I'm scared now.
You want to talk scared? One of the hardest booths to get into at Comic-Con is one of the ones that has the most return on investment, Hasbro.
Of course.
They're the ones I bought that Infinity Gauntlet from last year. They actually have a Black Series First Order Stormtrooper, one of the first Star Wars, the Force Awakens toys. The exclusive will be 6-inch in special packaging for $25.
Wow.
You want to talk out? They're also having Transformers exclusives. For $75, you can pick up a 3-pack of Combiner Hunters, Windblade, Chromia, and RC in special coloring for $75. Okay, for $105, you can get the Book of Vishanti set of figures from Doctor Strange, which includes the Doctor, Magic from the X-Men, Hela from Norse mythology, Dormammu, and Brother Voodoo. Okay, Jesse, bring $180 with you.
I know what you're talking about.
The Devastator
Oh,
set?
yeah.
Not only is there... I mean, you can buy the Combiner in retail nowadays, but for $180 you get a special colorized version closer to the G1 version, and the entirety comes in a commemorative stamped box that says Comic-Con exclusive on it. And this is on top of the G.I. Joe exclusives we discussed about 2 months ago.
I am tempted to buy that just to have it. I'm probably never going to open the damn thing.
You probably shouldn't, frankly. People are already trying to kill each other to get at it. Not only that, you can get a special exclusive Hot Wheel, a Hot Wheel based on the Star Wars The Force Awakens Stormtrooper. This is actually kind of cool. I almost wish I had one of these. Hang on. There's the image. I sent it so you guys could take a look. Remember, they had the Darth Vader Racer last year. This year, they have this thing based on the new Stormtrooper designs.
Of course, it'll be a hatchback.
Oh, bitch, bitch, bitch. And those are all the exclusives we know of at Comic-Con. There's plenty more I'm sure we don't. But in news that will probably make my wife and V relatively excited, Pride, Prejudice, and Zombies is going to have a Hall H panel.
That's going to be impossible to get into.
Yeah, the panel is going to be on Saturday, July 11th. They're probably going to inhabit one of the spots Marvel usually has. In case people didn't know, Marvel Studios is skipping Comic-Con this year in favor of the D23 Expo. That's making a lot of people upset. You know, we've had the discussion before. I understand why they did it. You know, going to D23 is the crowd. That's going to advertise to the crowd that you wouldn't think is usually of your interest. They're trying to get more people in. But this panel, V, the reason why I say you'll probably want to go is because planning to be there is Lily James, Bella Heathcote, Jack Houston, director Burr Steers, and one of the stars, Matt Smith.
There's that sound again.
Yeah,
I know.
would like to meet Matt Smith.
That's on Saturday. It's also been announced that Star Wars The Force Awakens will have a Hall H panel this year. This particular panel will be on Friday, July 10th. This panel expects to have Kathleen Kennedy, who's a producer, director J.J. Abrams, writer Lawrence Kasdan, and, quote-unquote, special guests.
Are they old?
Special... What the fuck kind of question is that?
It's either the new guys or the old guys.
It's The Force Awakens. It could be any fucking buddy. You know, it could be Mark Hamill. It could be some of the new stars of the film. It could be Mark Hamill making out with Harrison Ford, for all I know. I don't know. But all I can say is it's Star Wars. If you don't line up the day before, you're not getting in. I think we can all agree on that. Comic-Con has also released their schedule for signings going on in the Salus Pavilion. Some of these signings are ticketed, some of them are not. And there's too many for me to really list, but it does involve comics and artists, celebrity entertainment, publishers, authors, and others, as well as off-site autographs and signings that are happening as well. Like I said, there's too much to go through, but I'm sure that there is something of everybody's interest for autograph hounds. God, you remember the list last year? They actually had Tiamat from The Last Dragon show up. And Virgil's usually there every year. He probably is this year as well. And last year it was rumored that he was coming simply because of a tweet. Or not last year. Last week it was rumored this man was coming based on tweets. Now we've got it as official. Bruce Campbell is coming to the Ash vs. Evil Dead panel. But he's not the only one coming to the panel. The original filmmakers Sam Raimi and Rob Tappert are coming, as well as Lucy Lawless is coming to the panel.
Well, she was just on Marvel's Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I wonder what else.
I don't know. She must have some connection to this Ash vs. Evil Dead. The panel is going to be held in room 6A on Friday, June 10th from 6 to 7 p.m. Anybody here a fan of Outlander?
What's that?
Haven't watched it.
It's a Starz show based in, what would you say, that is revolutionary Scotland?
No.
Familiar with it.
They're having they're having their own panel. The actors Catriona Balfe and Sam Heghan are coming. They'll be at Comic-Con on Saturday, July 11th in Ballroom 20, the second biggest ballroom there, from 4 o'clock p.m. to 4:45 p.m. Oh, and we have some under the tents news. In other words, this is something going on during Comic-Con, but may not be in Comic-Con proper. Word is, Nerd HQ may have a special guest in the form of William Shatner this year.
Oh, that should be interesting.
Zachary Levi, who runs Nerd HQ, said on Twitter back on June 5th, quote, Mr. William Shatner, sir, my people have reached out to your people to please come do a panel with us. Please, unquote. Not only that, there's a man who's marching from San Francisco all the way down to Comic-Con in his Stormtrooper outfit. He's from the 501st Legion.
Whoa.
He's walking the 630 miles from his home to San Diego Comic-Con in honor of his recently deceased wife, Eileen Sheig. This man is Kevin Doyle, and his wife was an artist, and they were pretty much at home at Comic-Con. This walk is for charity as well as to raise awareness about pancreatic cancer. That man has guts, man. Walking in that plastic armor in this heat.
Oh, he's got to have some water stops.
Yeah. There's actually been some designs released on the proposed expansion and redesign of the Los Angeles Convention Center, which is currently home of the Anime Expo. These designs look interesting. I will link you to the website where you can see them. These would be, and I'm sure Jesse and Steve could agree, these would be radical redesigns of the LA Convention Center. The first design involves what would be a heavy expansion of that sky bridge, and it looks like they would build further back. I think most of the designs they're courting would include a contiguous convention hall instead of the two halls that LACC is right now. Which is arguably what they need. That's why E3 is leaving the Los Angeles Convention Center after this year. They're tired of having two halls that they have to make people walk across to get anything done. The second design looks like a bunch of fucking condos.
Yeah, in a way.
No.
It's like a bunch of separated stuff. I don't know how I feel about that. The third one,
that looks cool.
It's very
yeah.
It's very interesting looking. Although I can't quantify it by any means.
It looks
man.
like a landscape,
it's
like it's a mountain made of glass.
Yeah, it looks like some modern designer went crazy.
They have an outdoor stadium in there. I think that's what it looks like.
That is what it looks like to me.
Yeah. Although that's where the bridge should go to connect the halls, it looks like. It's interesting. I've seen a lot of people on the Anime Expo the Anime Expo fans Facebook page. They have said that they look forward to going to a convention here. However, I do think that a lot of people are overlooking the fact that to build this, that would mean that at least half the convention center would need to be knocked down at any given time while they're building this fucking thing.
The renovations would be phenomenal.
Massive.
Yeah, and the Anime Expo is barely fitting in that building as it is. So they're going to need to find another home for a couple of years if any of these designs are okayed and construction breaks ground. But I'm sure they haven't thought in that format. That fan group actually banned somebody for not being happy enough.
What?
What?
How is that?
I went through the post on cosplay.com. She actually sent a copy of the messages she got from one of the moderators who said, it's not you. No, actually they said something to the effect of, because you're not promoting a happy enough vibe in the fans page, and a lot of what she was doing was asking questions, we're breaking up with you, was what one of the moderators told her.
What?
There's got to be more to that.
Actually, based on my observations, there's not. If you don't have positive things to say about Anime Expo in this fan page, and I say fan page loosely because several of the moderators are ACT staffers, they'll remove you. They'll let people outright argue with you, call you an entitled fucking brat for having a different opinion.
Ow.
Yeah, it's fucking unbelievable, and it's very duplicitous to have staffers running the Facebook page, but since they call it a fan page, technically they can do whatever the fuck they want.
There's a reason why I don't go to that convention anymore.
Titan Comics has announced that they're producing a Heroes Reborn comic book series to coincide with the new miniseries upcoming this fall. It's a licensing agreement that was awarded by Universal Partnerships and Licensing. It's supposed to be a 5-story arc featuring the origins of one of the series' new main characters. The comic's going to be written by the Heroes Reborn supervising producers Seamus Fahey and Zach Crayley. It's going to be illustrated by an artist I'm not familiar with named Rubin. So the first issue of this comic will hit stores in October 2015, which should be about the same time the TV show comes out. All right, next up we have Anime Japan news. We talk about the news of our favorite animators from across the ocean, as well as some of the cultural news that comes from the Pacific Rim. First up I got here is that the showrunner for Daredevil has actually been hired for a new job.
An additional job, or?
I assume an additional job, and it's kind of interesting because he has to cross the aisle to do it. He's joined Warner Brothers in an attempt to write the latest version of the Akira movie they've been trying to make.
Huh.
Writer-producer Marco Ramirez is working on this. I don't know what I feel about this, because they've been trying to make this movie for years, literally years, and it hasn't gotten off the blocks. Remember the American Akira animated spoof?
No.
With a talking bike and shit?
Whoa.
No.
Oh god, I played that for you guys in your house.
I forgot about it.
Oh, it was actually that funny. We rolled over on it. But this movie has had a lot of different stars attached to it at one point or another who have all dropped out because of the length of time it's taken trying to make it, including Ezra Miller, Garrett Hedlund, Kristen Stewart, and Helena Bonham Carter. You know, a good script can make a really great movie regardless of what the adaptation is. At the end of Fanime, I actually watched Edge of Tomorrow, the Tom Cruise movie that was based on All You Need Is Kill, the animated series.
Yeah, I enjoyed it.
That's a good movie. And a lot of people don't realize that's an anime film.
Mm-hmm.
So all you need is a right script. I just don't know if I don't know if Akira is one of those things you can adapt, though. That is such a mind screw.
Yeah. It didn't really have a huge plot to it.
Yeah. Speaking of anime adaptations, the live-action version of the Death Note TV drama is supposed to hit Japanese airways on July 5th. This is coming soon.
It can stay there.
Yeah, they're rather boldly proclaiming that the climax of the series will shock viewers. And the story is supposed to be entirely original. It's going to be based on Death Note, but it's a whole new story they're putting out on this series.
I don't know. A lot of people out there have seen Game of Thrones. There we go.
Yeah, I'm betting Game of Thrones didn't have moments and scenes like that.
I don't know, but it's one of those series that I could see being a lot easier to adapt to live action.
Probably. Studio IG has also unveiled a 12-minute digest for the soon-to-arrive Ghost in the Shell, the new movie film. They're trying to build further hype for it. And yeah, they actually have a YouTube video that is 12 and a half minutes long trying to hype this new film.
How much is actual, scenes from the film?
I've actually started it, and it looks like it starts off just with the movie itself. I mean, we can watch it, but it's entirely in Japanese. It's kind of hard to put into context. I guess it looks like it starts off with a virtual conference between the several characters trying to decide on a mission parameter.
Oh, the boring stuff.
Well, that's where it starts anyway. I don't know where exactly it ends up. It's the first time I've opened the window. But, the thing about animated series, though, it's often filled with what you call boring stuff. It's called character development and story.
Yeah.
Not everybody can be grabbing ass. Speaking of which, there is the announcement of a new movie based on Free coming. They're calling it Free Starting Days. I don't know if this one will have... What?
What's Free?
Free is the swimming anime?
Yep, never mind, I remember.
Yeah.
It's supposed to be based on the original high-speed light novels of Free. It's going to have the show's cast of youths in their elementary school forms. It's probably going to be I guess you could say it's a prequel of sorts. Although I don't know if this one will have Haru talking to Haru.
Yeah, no. I'm uninterested, but I'm sure some people will be.
There's a lot of people that will be. Have you seen the Free cosplayers around conventions these days? They're numerous.
I saw them in ALA.
There's a lot of them around Fanime. if you think you're a fan of Initial D, you're probably not as much a fan as Drift Hunter Albo Angue. Somebody went driving with him this past weekend, and the guy has like lovingly recreated not just the cars from Initial D, but the driving style too.
Oh.
Yeah, he actually loaded this guy up into a Miata and drove him to some unknown parts where they, I don't want to say recreated scenes, but they actually rebuilt some of the cars, including the title car from the series. They actually recreated it in loving fucking fashion, and then took him on a drift ride in the night.
Wow.
That's rather extreme fandom.
Yeah.
It's actually, it's a cool idea. However, I don't think I'd want to go say, so, show me your fandom, and then the guy goes whipping around mountains in the dark. It's like, okay, fucking let me out. I will be the lone dark guy on this highway. I don't fucking care. Let me out. A series I did actually really enjoy, Aldnoah Zero. It's getting a English dub release this July 21st.
Really?
They're releasing the series in the U.S. domestically.
Adult
Yeah, I actually had Aniplex. No, DVD release, dude.
Oh.
It may hit Adult Swim eventually. I don't know, because it's one of those series. It's I don't know. I almost want to use Too Smart for Adult Swim, but frankly, it's just maybe a bit more mature than they're used to, considering they're running Kill la Kill and Attack on Titan right now. I actually do have the English trailer, though. I thought we could chew it through it together and see if any of the voice actors were good.
Okay.
Because you gotta admit, the protagonist of the series was so emotionally dour, I don't know how he translated into English.
Yeah, that would be my biggest complaint when I watched that.
Yeah, I sent it. I don't mind the guy being disconnected. It's just the emotional range between the Japanese and the U.S. is so goddamn different.
You know, as long as he still sounds like a, organic robot, I think it would be close to
Okay. Well, it starts with the Aniplex logo, like things often do these days. Took it a little bit to actually kick into the animation.
Oh.
Such a beautiful planet.
The light flare is kind of a nice touch.
The cradle in which all of
I
humanity
hate her voice.
I'm glad I'm not the only one.
Those damn Martians, the bastards really went off.
And he's not much better.
Lieutenant, I believe I asked you to refrain from drinking.
It's like I said, I don't think the Japanese and the American style of speaking have the same kind of emotional ranges, so it's jarring.
Yeah,
to me at least.
It's like when I hear it in English, I know the connotations better. I can, you get the context more, and I swear to God, it sounds like most of these people are just reading a fucking script.
My guess, at least the reason why I don't like a lot of dubbings, is because if you're going to bring it into another language, that's fine. But you can't keep a lot of the Japanese cultural context when you do it. It's one of those catch-22s, because as much as you want to reference this stuff and make fans of the original translations happy, you can't do that because there are certain words in Japanese that when you say them in English make no fucking sense.
Like?
Or don't translate properly.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. There's a lot of words and phrases that won't translate properly, so you got to really pull it directly.
You have to pull.
You got to pull it all the way into the English context.
You have to translate the meaning, not just the words.
Mm-hmm. And it often falls short.
Well, that's why then you have the purists that are like, no, you can't fucking, you can't subtext. It has to be literal.
Oh, I realize that, but I'm not talking about the old mistakes that used to be made in these things. Okay, I'm not calling sake tea or anything bizarre like fucking that. It's just
that
one of those
wasn't
things.
even a mistake. That was just them going, no, we can't be advertising alcohol.
That was a mistake. That was just a purposeful mistake. But yeah, God. The biggest example would be the differences between the two voices of Princess Asylum. I understand that they tried to keep it very close to the version that the Japanese had, that light, lilting sort of conversational tone. However, you can't really replicate that in the English tongue very well without trying to make her sound like she's 5 fucking years old. You gotta let it go in a full-blown English voice. Whatever teenagers sound like, that's what she ought to sound like. Not like she's a teenager that's constantly being tweaked in the spine by somebody with a knife.
Or has something shoved up her ass.
Last bit of anime and Japan news I have. there's an engineer who is 63. He may be Japan's last living ninja.
Okay.
That's not bullshit. His name is Junichi Kawakami. He's the 21st head of the Ban clan. He's a dynasty of secret ninjas. He began training in the art of ninjutsu at age 6 under a Buddhist master. For concentration, he would stare into a candle until he felt himself inside the flame. For hearing, he would practice listening to needles dropping on wooden floors. But he says he's going to let the art die with him because ninjas don't fit with modern day times.
You think?
He says, quote, "We can't try out murder or poisons. Even if we can learn, we can't try it out," unquote.
Yes.
I don't know. I still think some things, some knowledges should be preserved, but that might be just my...
Well, I'm sure you could preserve the knowledge. It's just literally that what good is learning it? That's I think what the point that he's getting at is, I can
what
learn
good is
it.
learning it? But what?
But you can't.
I would argue that
practice it.
learning it. I understand that. It's one of those cultural things. If he's one of the last livings, but that may be what's also keeping him from being able to train other people. Is that ninja is not exactly a friendly word in Japanese context. These were hunter-killers. These were not friendly people.
Well, yeah. I mean, there's the whole lack of
morality.
Honor.
Oh,
they don't
honor,
give a
okay.
shit about morality per se. It's.
I know. I've seen tentacle porn. It's interesting to think that this man may be the last full-blown ninja left in the country. He's supposed
so they want you to believe.
Yeah, he supposedly trained to disappear in a cloud of smoke and cut a victim's throat from 20 paces with nothing but a 3-inch Death Star, as they put it. It's an interesting-looking man, at the very least. We have nerd interest news. We talk about those interesting items that don't quite fall into entertainment or comic book pantheons because we are nerds, and this shit does come up as stuff we like to talk about. Elon Musk has got to be one of my favorite inventors on the fucking planet. The way he runs business definitely doesn't have as much to do with profits as it does innovation. There are certain times where he just doesn't care burning down boatloads of money if he can make something new. You know what I mean?
I like that philosophy.
He's putting it even closer. He's officially requested FCC permission recently to begin testing satellites for what could become a globe-spanning internet.
Is he gonna name it Skynet?
He's talking about like wireless for the world via a series of satellites. What the article on Gizmodo is calling it is the SpaceNet. What Musk wants to do is use a SpaceX Falcon 9 rocket to shoot a constellation of small satellites into low Earth orbit that'll beam signals to the far corners of the planet. The space internet would eventually pick up a decent chunk of web traffic in urban and suburban regions, in addition to bringing billions of internetless people into the digital age. The fuck? That's a wild idea. The only problem is the data plans would skyrocket. Because somebody would be trying to buy out these satellites just so they can make a profit out of it. My question is, what carrier do you think he would use? You think he'd invent his own internet style?
I don't know. Depends on how skilled he is with it.
Bill Gates-backed effort to make a low Earth orbit space internet in the 90s folded when the cost ballooned out of control. Because as they found out, if you're going to make an internet that's supposed to be accessible to people in developing countries, it's going to have to be dirt cheap.
And technology's not that far ahead to make it dirt cheap yet.
Yeah.
Well, we'll see. That was the 90s. That was 2 decades ago, so maybe it has progressed to that point. Terry Pratchett's last Discworld novel has been named The Shepherd's Crown. If you recall, we talked about Mr. Pratchett dying back in March.
Oh, that's right. I forgot he died.
Yeah, there was speculation as to whether or not Discworld would continue. His daughter, Rhianna Pratchett, has announced that his forthcoming novel will be the final installment in Discworld. There's no current date attached to The Shepherd's Crown, but it will be the 41st installment in the series and is set to feature witch Tiffany Aching. Oh, actually, it's supposed to be released September 1st. The last Discworld book is coming out December 1st.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that. That's
Good luck
truly
getting that.
unfortunate.
Yeah. How would you guys feel about VR experiences for Star Wars and Jurassic Park?
Jurassic Park? Yay!
Star Wars, I'll be excited. Jurassic Park might be a little bit scared.
I want this scary.
Industrial Light and Magic has announced the creation of a new research facility called the ILM Experience Lab to develop new, immersive, and interactive experiences to take advantage of all recent advances in virtual reality on augmented reality hardware, but also improvements made to theme park attractions and movie theaters. The official press release says, quote, Industrial Light and Magic and parent company Lucasfilm Limited announced the formation of ILM Experience Lab, a new division that will draw upon the talents of Lucasfilm, ILM, and Skywalker Sound. ILM Lab combines compelling storytelling, technological innovation, and world-class production to create immersive entertainment experiences. For several years, the company has been investing in real-time graphics, building a foundation that allows ILM Lab to deliver interactive imagery at a fidelity never seen before. As this new dimension in storytelling unfolds, ILM Lab will develop virtual reality, augmented reality, real-time cinema, theme park entertainment, and narrative-based experiences for future platforms, unquote.
That's ambitious.
In other words, some of the stuff they want to do is create virtual experiences so you might actually be able to set foot in Tatooine or wander around Jurassic Park without, getting fucking eaten.
Not sure I want to set foot on Tatooine.
Well, the story on IO9, or Gizmodo actually comes with a near 3-minute concept video.
Okay.
I'm down.
All right. I sent it. See a bunch of people wearing VR and AR stuff.
Full of creatives from movies and video games and the technical sector.
I mean, the video game applications have been pretty obvious when it comes to VR and AR. Immersive experiences, that's
of a new generation.
That's very difficult.
Films. ILM, Skywalker.
It's that interactive segment. I mean, if they make it interactive, the next part's going to be tactile response.
Creation and expansion of a
Which could have interesting applications.
On a scale that's never been seen before.
Oh yeah, as well as mind control applications, technically.
We've been creating virtual worlds for a long time, but when you can actually see it in front of you in real time. And
wait, so they're? Oh, that's right. We talked about the story where they're able to render some of this stuff in real time.
Creative decision. It completely changes the kinds
of mocap suits, at least, can be added to a virtual environment.
Envelope on what we think is possible to be shown in a real-time environment.
We're entering.
Oh shit! See that projection box?
Yep.
Where it is possible.
That's the kind of stuff they're talking about.
The walls that separate us from.
They want to make fully immersive VR experiences for theme parks and other and movie theaters and other applications.
Pass through the invisible wall that seems to separate you from that movie. You can go further into the world in which the story is taking place.
Okay, so you can pretend to pet shit.
No one really knows how audiences are going to experience virtual reality.
I mean, the virtual reality stuff like shooters and certain types of games, that lends itself to virtual reality very easily. The hard part's going to be the next step, trying to create full worlds for these people to interact with.
Yeah.
What storytelling looks
that's a ways away from us, probably.
What I'm excited about that's going on here.
It looks like that's what ILM Lab is supposed to be specializing in, is actual virtual environment instead of just gameplay.
We were getting close to that holodeck.
Yes! Want the holodeck so bad.
But unfortunately, that also means we're getting close to Sword Art Online.
That's
You know
scary.
what? Without the death aspect, I would be totally fine with that.
We are actually much closer to Sword Art Online. I really doubt that anyone's going to hijack it like that, at least not en masse.
I'm not worried about the hijack. I'm more worried about the people just disappearing into their rooms for days on end.
Oh,
that happens with people in
bad
PCs
already.
now.
Yeah.
It's already a thing.
Recognized that storytelling and technological innovation.
Okay, so the Raptor actually reacted to all the objects he was putting up.
That's cool.
Interesting.
I like the concepts. I mean, you can bet if ILM is working on this, the first place this stuff will end up will be Disney parks. I mean, they own it now. I like the ideas. I like the future this could bring. There's a Russian photographer and urban explorer. His name is Ralph Mirebs. He just published a series of photos he took from Russia's collapsing space program, including their prototypes for shuttles. They were called Burans, B-U-R-A-N-S. the people at Gizmodo and Attila Nagy found his portfolio. Check these out. These are interesting yet sad photos of what could have been. The shuttles never made it out of development, so they're just sitting in the development hangars rotting.
Aww. Now I really want to go to Russia and, like...
And these are locked up areas, but obviously he broke into it and started exploring. This would be a hell of a place to just walk around for a while.
A lot more sleek.
Can you imagine running a game in this? Like, live action?
Oh, shit. That's like one of my constant dreams, is to find places like this and just roleplay for a little while. That would be incredible.
That would be amazing. It would bring me back to my childhood, I guess.
It looked like they were... It really does look like they were near completion on this project before they were stopping it. I don't know if that's in the interior of a shuttle or the interior of a trainer, but there's a full cockpit there.
All right, that's the interior of the storage area. You can tell by the opening doors above.
Oh, yeah. Looks like they hadn't finished the floors of it yet. They were probably getting to the interiors and just really fleshing these things out. That's sad. Speaking of sad, there was a Nobel Prize-winning scientist. He had to resign recently. His name is Tim Hunt. He was a knighted British biochemist who won the Nobel Prize in 2001. He resigned from his position as an honorary professor at the University College of London Faculty of Life Sciences because he made sexist comments in regards to women in science. He said in a speech at the World Conference of Science Journalists in South Korea, quote, "Let me tell you about my trouble with girls. 3 things happen when they're in the lab. You fall in love with them, they fall in love with you, and when you criticize them, they cry," unquote. Wow. The man is 72 years old. He apologized for his comments on BBC Radio 4's Today program, and he said he meant them as a joke. He referenced his own romantic experiences in a lab setting and how they were disruptive to the science. You ever thought about dating girls who aren't in the lab, you fucking morons?
He maybe doesn't get out much. I admit that it's a sexist statement, but at the same time, he's referencing personal experience. If we're gonna start censoring people's personal experience, where the fuck are we going?
I completely agree. But besides, I think censoring shouldn't even be... I'm against censoring at all. Like, if someone doesn't want to hear something, they can just not listen to it. It's when someone, like, forces them to listen to something or shoves their ideas down your throat that it's a problem.
Yeah.
Retelling personal experience is one thing, but just kind of making light of it in a room full of journalists is not the best thing you can do.
I agree his decision was not good.
No, it was not wise, but at the same time, it's his own personal experience, and you know what? They're there to listen to him talk. If what he says offends them, oh well.
He said that during a speech. I don't know if they were there specifically to listen to him talk. He may have just been an addresser in the middle of something.
Even still, they were here to listen to him talk. I just, it's getting to the point where everyone is so fucking uptight about what everybody else says, and if one little thing you disagree with, then that's like the fucking end of the world. It pisses me off.
Okay.
It's like, Blazing Saddles. You can't fucking make the movie Blazing Saddles nowadays. Everybody is too uptight.
I agree.
Blazing Saddles had something going for it, though, in that all the writers involved were of the particular races that were often made fun of.
But again, that's somewhat beside the point, because it doesn't matter. If they tried to make that movie nowadays, there is no way it would get greenlit. Somebody would sit there and go, but what if? And it's not even a what if. Someone is going to be offended by that. I can't even imagine somebody even trying to go through the process of getting that okayed nowadays, because anybody that would just be like, no, that's not going to fly. Someone's going to complain, and somebody else is going to agree, and it's not going to happen.
I think
that's the state of censorship in today's world. As far as I'm concerned, it's ridiculous.
Well, there was somebody that was shot with a camera gun in 1946.
Okay.
What's a camera gun?
Camera. Yeah. Camera.
Well,
I guess I'm more like I'm needing to look this up now.
Well, there was a lady named Pearl Lusk. She was 19 years old. She was approached by a good-looking man in Times Square subway station. He said he was a detective, and he told her that he needed her help solving a case. She needed to snap a photograph of a suspected thief with an unusual camera. When Pearl shot the photo, she shot the subject. The camera was a gun concealed in a box wrapped like a present.
Huh.
The woman in question she'd been shadowing wasn't a jewel thief, and the man that gave her the camera wasn't a detective. The target was a lady named Olga Trepani Rocco, the ex-wife of Alphonse Rocco, who was a gangster.
Mm.
Mr. Rocco spotted Pearl at the station and surmised she'd be able to get much closer to Olga than he could because she was afraid of her former husband, who had once taken a shot at him. Oh no, he'd taken a shot at her before, and she'd asked the police for protection. So she got this unknown girl to shoot his ex-wife for him.
Interesting.
What was even better was that old Pearl Lusk wasn't quite the sharpest knife in the drawer. She told the cops, quote, "I took her picture, and at the same time, somebody shot her," unquote.
Ow.
That's epic timing.
That's not the ow, Jesse. The lady who was shot, Olga, she survived, but lost a leg as a result. Alphonse Rocco was pursued by the cops to the Catskills, where he died in a shootout trying to escape. That's bizarre as fuck.
This didn't make it to what the fuck?
Not quite. I mean, it's a real life thing. Further on in Nerd Interest news, there's a new Senate bill that was voted up that must retrofit all handguns with smart tech before sale.
Huh?
Markey and Warren, Ed Markey of Massachusetts and Elizabeth Warren of Massachusetts put forth a bill that would mandate that in 10 years, anyone selling a handgun must retrofit it with personalization technology before the sale can be completed.
Is the technology that far to warrant that?
Yeah, the technology does actually exist to make smart guns that would only react to its registered owner. So you wouldn't be able to pull the trigger unless you were the registered owner of that particular weapon, with matching biometrics.
That doesn't seem like a bad thing.
I didn't say it was a bad thing. It's just the bill they've put up. Yeah. According to the story on CNS News, the smart gun technology would only allow a handgun to be operated by an authorized user. It generally works through finger or palm print recognition, electronic password, or coded lock, or a gun that needs to be in proximity to a specific watch or bracelet in order to operate. However, smart gun technology is currently very pricey. There is a smart gun available on the market, the Armatrix IPE-1. It currently has a base retail price of $1,800.
Wow.
Yeah, the technology is here, but it's not cheap.
Well, the bill actually does make, even though it's a Democratic bill, it also makes allowances for that. The bill also has measures that would authorize brands to develop and improve personalized handgun tech to increase efficiency and decrease costs. It would also provide reimbursement to manufacturers for the cost of retrofitting handguns through the Department of Justice Assets Forfeiture Fund.
At best, this has helped reduce accidental shootings.
Well, I don't know about accidental shootings, but it would definitely lower the amount of homicides of people who own handguns and had it turned on them.
Yeah.
You know, it's like that story we read last week about that poor boy from Montana. Right. He still would have been shot.
Yeah.
And that was very accidental. Last bit of nerd interest news I have. You guys know about wearables, right? There's these digital items that are coming out nowadays that track everything from your calorie count when you're walking to just your day-to-day activities.
Yeah.
Be it smartwatches or things like Fitbits.
Yeah, I've actually been thinking about getting one.
Okay, well, you might be thinking about getting one of these, too. Two companies have announced their plans to release the first sex trackers. A Spanish smartphone manufacturer called Geeksphone plans to release a watch-form fitness tracker called the Geeks Me later this year. It's going to have the ability to record your sexual performance along with other standard features of a wearable step counter.
Okay, that is actually really intriguing.
The feature will have to be manually activated by the user. It will measure variables like the duration of intercourse, calculate calories burned during sex, and keep track of how often the wearer engages in bedroom fun. Still in development, but they hope to launch it this summer.
Okay, that's
so
interesting.
It won't be pics or it didn't happen. It'll be show me your data, or I don't believe that you really went for 3 hours.
Show me where your temperature spiked exactly to prove when you had that orgasm. The other entry into this new field is called the Lovely. It's supposed to be, it's being billed as a toy for couples. It's a much more direct route than the Watch because it goes on a penis.
What?
A team member in development on this item in an Indiegogo campaign said that it could be placed on a penis, a dildo, or over some fingers. It's a leaf-shaped device that works like a cock ring.
Okay, yeah, I was just going to say, is it like a cock ring or something? But...
Yeah, it has a chip embedded in it with an accelerometer, a gyroscope, and a motion processor. So if you want to know what motion is in that ocean, this thing will tell you. It's going to send data to a smartphone app that records the speeds, forces, orientation, and duration of each sexual encounter, calculates calories burned, and offers tips to enhance your sex life. It also includes a small vibrator for clitoral stimulation. If the crowdfunder finishes, they plan to ship this thing by May of 2016. I don't know if I want that much information on my smartphone for anybody to pick up.
Yeah.
I can imagine my daughter picking it up, going for Fruit Ninja, and all of a sudden said, "Dad, it says you burned 200 calories last night. What were you doing?" Jogging.
At 1 in the morning.
You're 12. Shut up. I think that's the moment where you just take the smartphone out of your hand and say, "Go to your room." What did I do? Go to your room. But I just want to go to your room. Okay?
And you delete the app.
Delete the app. I'd probably walk right up to Karen and say, "See this? 260 calories. That means we have to do this 3 more times a night." Last up, we have our What the Fuck Corner. We talk about those confusing yet interesting stories that pick up from across the internet. First up, we have an attempted book banning.
Okay.
I think I've heard about this.
Crafton Hills College, Tara Schultz. Does this sound familiar?
Yeah.
Okay, Tara Schultz took a course of English 250 at Crafton Hills College. She complained to the college administrators over graphic novels that were included in the course curriculum. The particular graphic novels in question are Persepolis, Fun Home, East, The Last Man, Volume 1, and The Sandman, Volume 2, The Doll's House. 4 of 10 graphic novels included in the course curriculum, and Ms. Tara Schultz had a problem with the graphic novels' depiction of nudity, sex, violence, and torture contained in them.
Yeah, they've or at least the Persepolis and the Sandman one are both common targets.
Yeah, Ease the Last Man is also a pretty ecchi manga book. Schultz complained, quote, "It was shocking. I didn't expect to open the book and see that graphic material within. I expected Batman and Robin, not pornography," unquote. I would argue if you've read 70s Batman vs. Robin, there was some pretty close to pornographic stuff in there. But she complained to the administrators, who gave her the option of being able to drop the course without receiving a failing grade. According to the college course catalog, English 250 is a genre literature course. It's described in their book as, quote, "a study of fiction as a literary genre through readings, in-class discussions, and analytical assignments. Emphasis will be on a particular type of fiction. See the current class schedule for the specific subgenre."
That's another excuse to use comic books as your textbook.
Well, it's not even a first-year class. This is the 3rd year that the teacher, Ryan Bartlett, has taught this course.
Right. No,
but it's the first time in 3 years that somebody's complained about the materials in the course.
Again, this is what I'm talking about as far as censorship.
Well, the college has agreed to put a disclaimer on the course in the future. They're not stopping the course. They're just going to provide a warning that there will be some graphic material in the course.
Yeah.
That's sufficient.
You'd think so, but this Tara Schultz is not stopping here.
Of course not.
she does plan to be a congresswoman one day. Oh, God, I hope not.
Oh.
But the thing is, she's studying for an associate's degree in English and American Sign Language.
Okay.
Fuck, man. I don't want somebody like this running anything. And hopefully she never reads an issue of Saga, man. Her brain would explode.
Well, it's all about you know, taking the personal initiative and saying, hey, I'm uncomfortable with this. Okay, great. She went to the administration gave her the necessary, you know, tool. It basically said, okay, you didn't know what you were getting into. We understand this offends you. You can get out. That's great. But yet you're going to sit there and take your, you know, view and force it on others, and that's censorship. And that's when it becomes wrong, in my opinion.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not going to say that you can't be offended reading that. That is your own personal opinion. That is your own personal, you know, level of comfort. That's fine. Don't force that on me.
Well, part of it is obviously her own ignorance, too. She said that when she thought she was reading graphic novels, she expected Batman and Robin, like they're the only ones in comic books ever.
Well, no, I think that, again, is just taking it out of context. She's providing an example of what she thought it was going to be, American comics. Something that is enforced as far as, you know, a certain level of censorship that prevails even today. You know, if you pick up Batman and Robin, it's pretty guaranteed you're not going to see, you know, nudity, you know, and so on and so forth. Graphic violence? Definitely. But
there's a level of nudity in those books, too.
Even then, you know, it's far tamer than probably something that you would find in a Japanese novel because they have different rules. Mm-hmm. But, again, you know, if she's personally offended by that, I'm not going to say anything. But to force that on someone else who is fine with it, that's when it starts becoming a problem.
I completely agree.
She got her parents in on the complaint as well. They complained that the books are available in the school's bookstore.
This is a college, right? They're all above 18, presumably.
Yes.
It's Crafton Hills College. I don't know what type of college this is.
Yeah. It doesn't matter. As long as you're over the age of 18, it doesn't matter if you buy it. Because it
matters in degree. I don't know if this is a religious college or not. I don't know anything about Crafton Hills other than
no way that
it
it would be a religious college if they were allowing that material to be sold. I'll say that. Yeah.
All I know about them is that they have a mascot of the Roadrunner.
Okay. I'm just saying, it's not a religious college.
Well, we have a couple interesting stories from Kotaku. They had people tell their stories about gaming marathons.
Well, this should be good.
The first story is about peeing in coffee cans.
That's good.
Okay.
Quote, my senior year of high school, I decided I was going to take a week off. My entire high school career, I never missed a day, and I felt like I was due a little time off. Luckily for me, Devil May Cry 3 had just come out. I played through all of DMC 1, trudged through DMC 2 as quickly as I could, and spent the next 5 days indulging in DMC 3. It was great, but I had to be really sneaky about it. I had to lie and say I was getting picked up by a friend and hide super quietly in my closet until my dad left. It was double difficult because my older sister still lived at home. She still does, by the way. And her room was right next to mine, so any excitement or anger I may have experienced playing the game had to be dealt with quickly and quietly. I also couldn't go to the restroom because the bathroom was right in front of her room, so I had to make do and start peeing in some old coffee cans. I would dump and rinse them out when I got home from school. It was gross, but DMC3 was awesome and totally worth it. I talked to a classmate and got all my missed assignments turned in on Monday and actually had my English teacher shun the rest of the class on my return because I completed all of my assignments while I was out sick and they hadn't, unquote.
Nice.
Let's see. There's another one here titled 2 Days Later. Whoops, when did that happen? Quote, I was excited for the release of Mass Effect 3 to the point where I took time off from work for it. My fiancée was going away for the weekend and would be back in a couple of days. I was confused sometime later when she came back in the house and had a concerned look on her face. I hadn't really noticed or stopped counting the last few bathroom breaks, but I had been playing the game nonstop for 2 days straight and she had come back from her trip. She forced me to take a shower before I passed out. I I was Commander Shepard for those 2 days. I was lucky that I had a case of seltzer water next to my chair while I was playing. Otherwise, I probably would have been in worse shape than when she had found me. Unquote.
Wow.
See, I like playing video games. I don't like playing video games that much.
Yeah, I would eventually get tired of it.
There's still like about 15 stories here, but I'll read one more. Titled Sleep Playing is actually pretty impressive.
Okay, this I gotta hear.
Quote, not strictly a marathon, but I was in college when the Diablo 2 expansion came out. I bought it before starting my senior thesis and decided that I would only play the game when the thesis was complete. Sure enough, I kept my word, finished my thesis months in advance, and got to Diabloing around. I didn't marathon it at any given point, but I played a lot. A whole lot. How much, you ask? Well, this one time I was playing around in Act 3 in the city areas near the end, out of the jungle, and I was tired, so I began to doze off. I fell asleep, and woke to find that I continued playing in my sleep, found several waypoints, explored a couple side dungeons, completed at least one quest, and made regular town runs to sell my loot, all while asleep.
I have difficulty believing that.
I decided that it was time to put Diablo 2 away for a little while. Unquote.
It's a form of passing out. It's like sleepwalking. He was playing while not conscious, not necessarily asleep, but not conscious.
I have done work like this, believe it or not. I've been able to do dictation. I've been able to type it up and make active corrections while passed out at my desk.
Yeah, I've been able to do the same thing in class and also at work.
At one point, I did this while reading WoW.
Yes.
Actually, there's one more story here that I want to read because a couple of the items in it, and this is on Kotaku, by the way. The title of it is literally just in the game now. Quote, not really the marathon itself, but what happened immediately after is the point to my story. So a friend of mine got me hooked on the Resident Evil series, and I had played RE3 all the way through multiple times while dabbling in the first 2 entries. When talking with a store employee about it, he recommended Silent Hill, claiming it to be far scarier. That night, I talked my mom into going to Blockbuster Video to rent this amazing title. I got it, made it home, but it was too late to really get into the game, so I went to sleep. The next day rolls around, and I've got all day to play it. Viva Summer Break! We're talking 10 a.m. to 1 a.m., with only bathroom and food breaks in between. So 1 a.m. rolls around, and I've been stuck in the same place for the past 3 hours, unable to figure out where to go, either the school or the hospital, I forget which. Deciding to take a small break, I realize I'm out of soda and chips, and I want to head to 7-Eleven to pick some up, as it's only a 10-minute walk to get there. I open the door, wallet in pocket and keys in hand, and there is a wall of fog so thick I can't see the front of the car in the driveway. I should mention that up to that point, I have been playing with the lights off, and it's been pitch black in my room for the past 5 hours. Here I am, however, now presented with a world of Silent Hill right outside my door. I shut the door, headed back to my room, turned on the lights, and decided that maybe it was time to call it a night and go to sleep. With the lights on and a radio on. To this day, I cannot play horror games with the lights off because of it. I also can't really do marathon sessions of anything that isn't an RPG. But that is another tale. For another time, unquote.
I've done 12-hour marathons of, I think, Final Fantasy 2.
Oh yeah, I've marathoned RPGs all the time, but yeah, again, bathroom breaks, food breaks.
I gotta go outside.
I went straight 12 hours.
Yeah, if I'm gonna play like more than 4 hours in a day, I gotta go outside for a while. That's a rule.
Oh,
I can play for 8 hours straight, but yeah, I mean, bathroom breaks. Food, I
was like 10 when I did this, and I marathon Quest 64 and beat it in 2 days.
Yeah, I honestly
don't remember. Game.
I don't remember how long I've played a single game at one time, honestly.
Let's just say this. My parents knew where I was sitting.
Well, moving on. How would you guys like to see an airplane take off damn near perpendicular?
What?
Perpendicular. In other words, as soon as it takes off, it's almost going straight up.
I would like to see this.
VTOL?
No. No, it's a Boeing 787, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I sent it. This happened at the Paris Air Show in 2015. This was prep work. Look at this thing and the angle it comes up.
Wow.
Please Please return your trays to their full upright position because you're about to crap yourself.
It's more like, you better not have your trays out or anything on them because they're in your lap or in your face.
If you have a cell phone still on, you are about to swallow it. That's Vietnam Airlines making this. That is a crazy fucking takeoff.
It's a lot of thrust.
Those are the kind of pilots you want on Air Force One, man. This bitch is going.
Air Force One's way too heavy.
That was really impressive, though.
Yeah.
The guys on Sploid thought that thing was going to do a backflip when it took off like that. I got an interesting animal photo for you, but it's a positive what the fuck this time. It's not one of those nearly died type items like we usually see.
Okay.
There was a koala in Brisbane that was hit by a car on a highway.
Okay, this
No
doesn't
bones
start out good.
Well, no bones were broken, but the poor koala did have a collapsed lung. So they took it into surgery. The surgery went well, but what makes this a different type of story isn't necessarily what happened to that koala. It was who hung around with it during the entire 6-hour operation. Take a look at this image.
Alright, what animal did it? Oh. Oh.
That is the child of the koala in question, a 6-month-old koala that they've named Phantom. She was allowed to sit and hold on to her, he was allowed to sit and hold on to his mother during the entire operation. He just sat there clinging to her.
Oh, so cute!
The mother made it through okay. She's recuperating now.
You know, I came across an interesting animal picture yesterday. The guy fishing, he caught a nice big trout, I think.
Yeah, I saw
Yeah,
this
it's presenting it, like, but in the background is a photo bomb of a bear saying, looking, saying, mine. Big brown bear.
It looks like a Kodiak, yeah.
Well, we have proof that the 90s have returned in gruesome style lately. Big Trouble in Little China has been being remade. Mad Max was remade. The X-Men are couture again. But maybe we need something else from the 90s to go with it all, and Pepsi has decided it's time.
Crystal Pepsi?
Crystal Pepsi is coming the fuck back.
I'd take a wild swing on that one.
In a June 8th press release, Pepsi actually said to somebody who asked them, quote, "Your love for Pepsi is clear, crystal clear. The passion you've shown for Crystal Pepsi is unmatched and we love it. We've had customers ask us to bring back their favorite products before, but never with your level of enthusiasm and humor. We're lucky to have a Pepsi superfan like you on our side. We definitely hear you and your followers, and we think you'll be happy with what's in store. Stay tuned. Love Pepsi." Unquote.
I remember drinking it. I don't think it was that good.
I liked it, but there wasn't much to differentiate it from all the other lemon lime sodas out there. There just wasn't much to put it apart, but I drank it okay. My uncle has often tried to force feed me Crystal Pepsi he finds on the internet. I keep trying to tell him, dude, that's 20 years old and it's probably battery acid by now.
Surprised it hasn't eaten through the can yet.
I think one tried, and I think it tried to take a bite out of me before it did it, but I don't know. Okay, GTA 5. There's a lot of players who like playing the online components of Grand Theft Auto 5.
Mm-hmm.
And we've seen there's a lot of people who will try and do some relatively weird shit in it.
Okay.
I mean, remember the last time we took a look at this stuff? The car gun? Does that sound familiar?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, there's a guy on YouTube named Black Smoke Billy, and he likes to do insane tricks in GTA 5. I am going to send you a video because this one threw me. It just threw me. Take a look at this.
The big rig?
It's one of his big rig tricks. He has a lot of them, actually.
Is this the kind of stuff you see on Game Fails?
No. Watch this.
No, it is not. There's Black Smoke Billy hauling ass down the road. See that hump of dirt?
Mm-hmm.
He's going up.
And
he lost the trailer.
Okay.
Lands it.
And
lands the trailer.
sticks the landing.
Oh my god, that would be a feat.
He actually caught the trailer again. And Billy was nice enough to do it from a profile shot. Take a look, man. He actually loses a trailer entirely. Does a
complete
corkscrew.
rotational flip, landed on all tires, and cut the trailer and still moving.
fucking awesome.
And then stops at a red light. He is a good driver.
I'm not sure you call
doesn't
that a good
actually
driver.
destroy any other cars.
Yeah,
That's
and I'm
impressive
sure-
too.
Can you imagine being an NPC in this game? If they had any sort of sentience, all they say is, "Oh fuck, not again."
They're just like, oh, another day.
Gravity
Now,
doesn't work
pizza-
like that in real life.
Pizza. Well, they just don't build them that well, unfortunately. Pizza Hut has 2 what the fuck stories this week. 2 of them.
Oh.
Any of you guys heard about one of them by chance?
I don't think so.
I know
Okay.
the return of stuffed crust, is a thing.
That's not exactly what I got here. Pizza Hut is they're owned by Yum Brands. On June 18th in all of its domestic restaurants, which means this will be out as of this coming week, they're debuting the new Hot Dog Bites Pizza.
Huh?
I shit you, it's a pizza that is rounded by 28 hot dog bites wrapped in pizza dough and baked. A bunch of pigs in the blanket surrounding the fucking pizza.
Right. Well, I mean, because they had the cheese bites before. So
Yeah, now it's
hot dog
bites.
Okay.
This sounds like a cardiac arrest and a half. It comes with hot mustard for you to dip the hot dogs. And it'll come in regular crust or pretzel dough crust.
Sounds kind of awesome, actually. Yeah, it
Oh, this
sounds like a
sounds-
heart attack too, but sounds good.
Yeah, this sounds like a sodium nightmare. But that's not the only innovation Pizza Hut has. In Hong Kong, when you order a pizza, they send it to you with a special lens in the box. You know the stands that they put in pizza boxes to keep the top of the box from like smashing into your pizza and fucking ruining it?
Yeah.
In Hong Kong, that stand also has a lens in it. What you do is, after you get the pizza out, you pop outside one opening in the side of the box, put in the pizza stand with a lens, put in your cell phone, and it acts as a movie projector.
Wow.
I would not... It's an interesting innovation. However, I've seen what's in a pizza box. I would not want to put my phone in that. I can't even imagine doing this. What would that sound like even? Would the sound even be that good?
I don't know.
The box even comes with a QR code for a digital movie download.
Huh.
Why don't you just leave the QR code and fuck the rest? I don't need the rest of that out of my pizza box. It's just going to get tossed away anyway.
Yeah.
Last what the fuck story I have is from Rob Bricken on IO9. He actually listed the reasons why he says Franklin Richards is the most ridiculous character in all of comics.
Besides being boring?
Do you know what Franklin Richards does?
He is a reality controller.
Turns out he's much more than that. Franklin Richards is actually 47 years old. The character of Franklin Richards was born in 1968. That was only 7 years after the Fantastic Four debuted. The character's actually been around for 87% of the comic book history of the Fantastic Four.
Huh.
It's also listed that he's one of the most powerful people in Marvel Comics. According to Rob Bricken, quote, like Wolverine and the X-Men, Franklin is a mutant. Unlike Wolverine and virtually all of the X-Men, Franklin is what's known as an Omega-level mutant, a term used for only the most powerful mutants in the Marvel Universe. Not only was Franklin showing off his powers immediately after he was born, most mutants don't develop their powers until puberty, Franklin is basically a god. He can rearrange matter, molecules, and the fabric of reality itself, meaning he can basically make his tiniest wish come true, and that's not counting his more basic powers of telekinesis, telepathy, and other more traditional psionic powers. Unquote.
Yep.
Then we have the Onslaught story that depicts that.
Well, yeah, the Onslaught was created by Professor Xavier doing his little mind abilities and tricking Franklin into creating Onslaught.
Nope, Franklin didn't create Onslaught. That was entirely Professor X when he tried to lobotomize Magneto.
Yeah.
No, but he tricked Franklin into believing that he was Franklin's imaginary friend, and Franklin made Onslaught.
No, he didn't.
Okay.
It's Marvel canon. Onslaught is like the dark desires of Professor X and Magneto given psionic force via Professor Xavier's body. Franklin was actually the one who put Onslaught into an alternative universe of his own creation.
Okay. I
That's actually
remember
part of this-
reading that story, and I remember.
That's actually part of the story here. Quote, sure, it took the trauma of seeing his parents die at the evil Onslaught's hands to force him to use his powers to their fullest. And yes, the resulting Marvel Universe was the impossibly 90s Marvel relaunch known as Heroes Reborn, which was terrible. But the fact of the matter is that Franklin once created an entire universe solely in order to house all the heroes Onslaught had killed, which ties into that whole Franklin gets to decide who lives and who dies thing. Furthermore, Franklin carried around this universe with him as a blue rubber ball, because he's a kid, unquote.
I'm not denying that he's the one that ended Onslaught. I'm just saying he was the one that provided the impetus of power in order to allow Xavier to become Onslaught.
I don't believe so.
I remember it, but I don't know. I'm going to look it up.
I'm just lost.
No, Onslaught was... Yeah, Onslaught's creation, according to the Marvel Wiki, he was augmented by Franklin, but he was created by Xavier and Magneto.
I know that it was Xavier and Magneto's dark impulses that were powering it, but...
That's what created it, too. He captured Later, Onslaught captured the X-Man and added both his and Franklin's psionic powers to its own. So he stole more powers from the two of them, but his creation wasn't by Franklin. Franklin was also so powerful as a baby that his father had to shut down his mind. Quote, to be fair, the evil Annihilus had kidnapped baby Franklin and put him in a machine that unleashes full psionic powers, but yes, Mr. Fantastic absolutely turned off his own baby's brain while trying to decide the best way to handle an infant with omnipotence. I assume this should be filed under tough love, unquote. Franklin's first babysitter was an immortal witch. Remember the character of Agatha Harkness?
Yes.
I've seen the character. I never actually knew what she was. Quote, she was born 500 years before Atlantis fell, supposedly. Note, Mr. and Miss Fantastic didn't know she was an immortal witch before hiring her. They just failed to do a solid background check, unquote. Okay, here's the villain Franklin created. Once when Franklin was feeling unloved, he created a supervillain. It wasn't a particularly good one. He called himself Modulus and was data-based. But still, neglect Franklin at your own peril, unquote. So when he was unloved, he felt like creating a supervillain. This one I should have remembered, but I don't. Franklin once shot Norman Osborn. It says, quote, I mean, really shot him with a bullet that came from his toy gun. You get what I'm saying here? Norman Osborn pissed Franklin off, and Franklin shoots him with a toy gun, and he decided he could briefly fire real bullets. Never get on Franklin's bad side, unquote. Franklin Richards has beaten the devil twice, including killing Mephisto. Okay, this is a statement of how big Franklin's powers are. He and Galactus are friends. Quote, seriously, they actually talk to each other. This probably has something to do with that time that Franklin resurrected Galactus with only the power of his mind. They needed help in defeating Abraxas. Long story. In one future, Galactus serves as Franklin's herald, just like the Silver Surfer usually serves Galactus now. But nothing indicates their friendship better than this utterly ludicrous snippet from Wikipedia. The adult Franklin shares a brief moment with Galactus. The two discuss the heat death of everything and the revelation of Franklin's immortality. Specifically, that he will, 1 billion years from now, stand beside Galactus to witness the birth of a new universe, unquote.
Which is probably why he's sitting on Galactus's palm in this series we're going to be discussing.
Maybe. Also, it says here in this article, many of Marvel Universe's most powerful beings are scared shitless of Franklin. Get this example. Quote, the Celestials are known as space gods to most people and aliens in the Marvel Universe. No one knows who they are, where they came from, or what they want, but they're responsible for most intelligent life forms throughout the universe, are several thousand feet tall, and were around before the Watchers started watching things like intergalactic peepers. The Celestials also created the Black Monolith from 2001: A Space Odyssey, which is somehow Marvel Comics canon. Anyways, the Celestials see Franklin as an equal, which should terrify pretty much everybody all of the time, unquote. That I had not heard of, and that's frightening. Last bit in this story of why Franklin Richards is the most overpowered character in comics. Franklin's little sister may be even more messed up than he is. Quote, although less well known, Franklin does indeed have a young sibling named Valeria. Valeria appeared to be stillborn, but of course, instead, Franklin had sent the baby to an alternative dimension to be raised by another Sue Storm who had married a heroic version of Dr. Doom. When Abraxas attacked, Franklin summoned her. They resurrected Galactus, and then Franklin regressed his little sister into a fetus and put her back in his mother's stomach to be born again.
What?
Even Oedipus thinks that's a bit much, unquote.
That's a lot much.
Wow.
And here I thought Wanda was kind of crazy.
Right.
And he's like fucking 10, man. You know what's going to destroy the world? When this kid hits puberty.
Not when he hit... No, we've gone past the terrible 2, so...
Yeah, his first zit's going to be a fucking nightmare. Okay, the story of this week is the Secret Wars. Marvel has made their first stab at a big summer event this year in 2015 with a story that basically starts with the world ending, which is kind of an unusual place for a comic series. Usually that's the climax.
Nope,
the world potentially ending is usually where these things end. That's where the first Secret Wars starts, when the Ultimate and regular Marvel universes are set to collide.
It kind of reminds me of the first 10 minutes of Titan AE. You know, when the Earth blew up.
Right?
You know, I have seen Titan AE, but I purposefully pushed it all out of my head. I was sick of that movie.
Really?
I mean, that's the only thing I
movie.
remember about it, to be honest. Is that the Earth blew up.
I really enjoyed that movie quite a lot.
Well, the first few pages of Secret Wars are kind of hard on context. You'd only really understand those particular pages if you've been reading some of the recent Avengers comics. Doctor Strange, Doctor Doom, and the Molecule Man had gone between the dimensions to try and find the source of the dimensional collapses. The multiverse of Marvel had been collapsing for quite some time. You know, we've seen aspects of that in the Avengers books, and New Avengers, and even Spider-Verse handled that for a little bit. But what it seems like at the first few pages, Doom and his party come towards I guess you could say a nexus of the universes that seem to be inhabited by the beings that are known as the Beyonders. If you remember, the Beyonder was the being responsible for the original Secret War, the war between good and evil.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And Doom presents himself, and then all of a sudden we're thrown into the Ultimate Universe, which is trying to head off its own destruction by invading the regular Marvel Universe.
Because they're the last 2 left.
It's all very confusing.
Actually, I was able to keep up with it for some reason.
Well, I think we're all a little more familiar with what's been going on compared to
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm like, the fuck? Where are all these universes?
Oh, they're all gone, basically. There's only the 2 left, and the first issue was a really big punch in the face. Even to somebody reading comics for a long time like me, because it wasn't just a case of hero versus hero, which is like the biggest struggles lately, but there were pretty regular amounts of heroes just being ruined and fucking killed left and right in this issue.
Yeah.
You know, and early on, the biggest confusion was that as the Ultimate Universe is invading, trying to stop their own world from being destroyed, Cyclops shows up out of nowhere with a large device and 2 Nation X Sentinels.
Mm-hmm.
That was left field. I mean, I understood the references from comics that are about 8, 9 years old, but still, the fact that he still had 2 Sentinels out of nowhere, and then this mystery thing he's sitting on, that took me a while.
Yeah. Well, it became kind of obvious once he actually revealed its name.
Oh, once he said it, yeah, that was pretty crystal clear, but still. It's just some of the action that goes on, you know, the ultimate Tony Stark trying to fight Captain Marvel and not understanding he's outmatched. The Guardians of the Galaxy trying their best to get involved, the Inhumans doing everything, including Black Bolt yelling. Although I think the biggest picture of desperation was probably that dimensional rift they were staring at, and Colossus doing a fastball special with the Hulk of all people.
I was so confused. Like, there was so much going on. I was just like, I don't even know who some of these people are.
That's one of those contextual statements of how fucked up things are when your best weapon is being thrown through dimensions by another strongman. The roles are Major League reverse there, especially when you're throwing the Hulk like a fucking bullet.
But I kind of liked it because it was like it's not good versus. It's a matter of these people just want to survive.
Yeah.
And like I said, it's a statement piece. When you're throwing the Hulk like a javelin as your weapon, you know things are bad. But the imagery halfway through the book of the Ultimate Triskelion being toppled by those 4 strong characters, that was really fucking powerful.
Okay, so tell me more about that.
The Triskelion is the building in the Ultimate Universe that houses S.H.I.E.L.D. and their version of the Avengers, called the Ultimates.
Gotcha.
In other words, S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters was taken out by a combination of the She-Hulk, Colossus, this robot thing that the Hulk invented called PED, and the Hulk. So 4 super strong characters basically took this thing on one side and just toppled it over like a gigantic fucking... Yeah, they played Jenga and won, okay?
Wow.
And then there's this weird time sphere that I guess where Ultimate Reed Richards was hiding his own experiment, where he stole the designs of Reed Richards' dimensional lifecraft.
That was a little confusing.
That I had to catch up on. I had not read the end of the Ultimate Universe.
So,
I do.
Why are the Fantastic Four featured so prominently? This is a Fantastic Four series?
In every major comic book thing, in every major event that Marvel usually, somehow, some way, Fantastic Four, especially Reed Richards, is in the center of it all for some reason.
Well,
he's like the smartest, huh?
Yeah, he is the smartest guy.
He's not just the smartest guy. He's been one of the few people who, in the Marvel Universe, has been aware for about the last 5 years of, real Earth time, that the multiverse has been dying. Remember, he was one of the members of the Illuminati who kicked out Steve Richards when the Infinity Gauntlet trick didn't work.
Yeah.
So he's been tracking this. He's known this has been coming. So he, in addition to trying to save everything, obviously he has a couple last-ditch efforts that he was going to try out to save his people. So it's logical, unfortunately, for one of the few times that Reed Richards is front and center in this story, because he's one of the few people that sees it happening, in addition to guys like the Submariner, Black Bolt, the Black Panther, the Beast. A short list. Did you guys catch the stuff in the middle when the supervillains just decided to party their lives away?
Yeah. That was funny.
And then the Punisher shows up. I was just like, oh, fuck.
Yeah. And I like the Punisher. Gentlemen, they say that when you die, you can't take it with you, which begs the question, exactly what am I going to do with all these bullets?
Check.
Yeah.
The villains first said the world's fucked, so let's have a party, and Frank Castle said, I'll join ya.
Yeah,
Click.
The Punisher said, well, the world's
and he was
fucked, so I'm going to have my own party.
He was probably packing the shotgun from Destiny, Party Crasher +1.
It did get really morbid towards the middle of this one, too, when that second life raft being piloted by the Widow and the Spider-Woman just went up in flames.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what happened to that? I wasn't quite sure what was going on.
And
yeah, some of the forces
was
from the
I
Ultimate Universe took
incorrect?
it out.
I thought I saw Amadeus Cho on that thing.
He might very well have been. That was also the one that had the Beast on it, if I remember correctly.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it may have been the other half of Reed Richards surviving members of the Illuminati.
It was kind of disheartening to see some of these, fan favorites actually going down, almost, and going down for good.
Yeah, like Rocket.
Yeah, dude.
Oh God, Rocket taking that bolt through the chest.
Ooh, yeah. That's rough.
That was brutal. Ultimate Spider-Man sneaking into a building, he had no idea what's going on. Well, what about Manifold taking the ultimate bullet there, trying to save as many people as he could before he died?
Yeah.
And then Cyclops, in the midst of all this, when things really look bad, he opens that device and says it's the Phoenix Egg.
Yeah, that was
okay. Cosmic Power Unleashed. Let's go.
The thing is, though, we had the discussion at the end of AVX. Yes, you disperse the Phoenix. If you think it's gone, you're a fucking retard. And obviously, he spent the time, I don't know about putting it back together, probably just trying to contain it so nobody else got to it at the very least. But when the world's ending, you're going to pull every card you got.
Yeah.
And he didn't worry about the repercussions this time.
You pretty much go like there's not going to be a tomorrow, which, is kind of apt here.
Yeah. Manifold selection, though, for who gets to go on that surviving raft. I mean, Lady Thor, Spider-Man, Captain Marvel, Cyclops, Phoenix.
I'm not sure what were these decisions based on.
He probably just picked a bunch of people he was sure they'd need when they made it to wherever they were going. The addition that I didn't really get was Star-Lord.
I got it. I was happy he was included.
I'm sure you're happy, but he picked the thief among all of them. I was a little confused on that one.
Maybe he's picked him for the highest charisma.
Yeah, let alone from the Ultimate Universe, there was another raft that had Thanos, frickin' Maximus, Ultimate Reed Richards.
I don't know about those other characters.
And Ultimate Spider-Man.
I think of them as the villain equivalent of the last few members of the Marvel Universe.
Yeah, Thanos, and he's always been a bad guy.
Yeah.
Submariner he jumps from side
Good
to
guy
side.
to bad guy, yeah. All the damn
And
time.
But that fucking section where after the two universes collide and it looks like there's nothing left, and then that section of the raft with Reed Richards' entire family, including Susan Storm, falls off.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
He made arrangements to grab it and it disintegrated before he could get to it.
Yeah,
and he watched them die and lost some fingers.
Yeah.
I mean, fucking nightmare beyond nightmare.
And so he's broken.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And that's all the first issue was the end of the Marvel Universe, literally. It's not a figurative saying that the Marvel Universe came to an abrupt end.
No, there was an obituary on the last page.
You know there's an obituary, but they're going to put it back. I mean, they seem to have made that pretty clear going into the next couple issues.
Yeah.
I don't think Battleworld is going to be the end of it.
Earth 616, Marvel Universe, from here to now. Earth 6, Ultimate Universe, here to now. Dead.
Now, the second issue is where we seem to actually get into the meat of the story. It's not just about the universe ending, but what came afterwards.
Yeah. This was much more interesting to me.
Yeah, it's a very psychotic, interesting item where Doctor Doom has created a patchwork, not universe, but self-contained planet out of his best recollections, it seems like, of the Marvel Universe.
Well, I actually think it's more of the what's available, what was left.
Yeah, what survived.
That was part of it. However, I think it was a little more directed than that because I noticed in the world he built, there was no Reed Richards.
True.
He definitely kept some things out purposefully. I didn't see a Reed Richards. I didn't see an Amadeus Cho. I saw one Beast. He definitely picked and chose a few characters who would probably give him the least amount of headaches.
I don't know. He brought Madeline Pryor as Dark Phoenix. I can't imagine that being a...
Wait. Who?
Dark Phoenix.
Yeah.
She was the Goblin Queen. He brought the Inferno version of Madeline Pryor.
Oh, okay.
I always thought that he did. I always came to the idea he didn't bring Richards back because there was nothing to find of him because he was in that life raft.
No, he wouldn't bring Richards back because he fucking hates him. He's always viewed Richards as the guy who stole his righteous place in life.
Yeah.
Stole the woman he wanted to marry, stole the friends he always thought he deserved, stole the power that should have been his. He always sees Richards as the guy who's ruining the planet and he's doing his best to save it.
I was surprised to see the Maestro, Old Man Hulk.
Oh god, there's a bunch of stuff that's just kind of surprising here. And the world he's created is arguably interesting, even though it's at war with itself almost constantly.
Exactly how did does he just wish it into existence, or
we don't know yet?
Well, from what I gathered, it was he attained that power by meeting God.
The Beyonders.
Yeah, the Beyonders. Basically,
the Beyonders are one of those races of cosmic beings who can make just about anything happen with their own consciousness and will.
Okay, so they're cute.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
They're less capricious. They're more like the entire Q society, less than Q.
Okay.
They just don't seem to care to get involved in too many respects. They're also the ones who built those insane machines that we saw back during the Avengers Now first printings. Remember that number ones where they sent those weird psychotic robots, the Ex Nihilo, the Abysses? Those are the Beyonders' creations.
Okay.
Those are the ones responsible for the universe building because they just don't get directly involved. But over the first issue, it does seem like they found the raft craft that holds the Marvel characters in it. They have alternate versions of Captain Britain, Alex Powers from Power Pack, Mr. Sinister. I don't know why, if you're going to recreate the universe or the world, you had Mr. Sinister into it. That's just begging for trouble.
That does seem illogical.
But I mean, he He re-added Apocalypse. I like Doom's throne in the Yggdrasil.
Yeah.
I mean, just about
center of the
everything.
damn universe.
Yeah, just about every scene involving Doom made it very clear when he recreated this world, he made it so that everything revolves around him. Even the Thors, which are now a legion of cosmic cops, bow a knee to him every time there's a new one.
Even better, the sun orbits the planet.
Yeah, and the sun is Johnny Storm.
Yeah, that was fucking sick.
But
the Human Torch is the sun.
Yeah, but it's not that Doom chose to put him there. He left it to Susan.
Yeah.
Well, he left leniency to Susan. He just made a new punishment since he couldn't kill him then.
No. The conversation literally went, he was going to execute him, but left Johnny's fate to Susan, and Susan chose to make him the sun.
The sun, which I think is awesome.
Yeah.
That is the definite tenor of this world as it's created, is that everyone doesn't just follow Doom's wishes. He is their god. He is their religion.
Yeah, but at the same time,
their alpha and omega.
Susan is not one of those that remembers.
No, there's only two characters, as it turns out, on Battleworld that have any recollection of the prior world, and that's Dr. Doom and his Sheriff of Agamotto, Dr. Strange.
Yeah, I actually think there may be more.
Well, who else was with them when they
Yeah, that's the thing. I would need to go back and look to see who else was there, because it was definitely Doom, and it was definitely...
The only other one was, as we discussed at the beginning, it was the Molecule Man.
Oh, okay, so he probably remembers.
He's not there.
I'm betting that Doom used him to recreate the world.
That's my feeling.
That's why we don't see him.
Wait, so who's not there? I'm confused.
The Molecule Man is a relatively meek individual who gained power over molecular control.
Oh, okay.
It's not reality control so much as he can rearrange molecules to make things as he desires.
Gotcha.
So he is only seen in one form after the beginning of this series, and that's in the form of a commemorative statue.
Right.
But, I mean, this world has an interesting amount of control. Franklin Richards is hanging out with a desiccated Galactus.
Well, I don't know that he's desiccated.
He looked like it from the few panels he was in. It looked like he was gaunt.
Well, he hasn't been eating because he's just hanging out there burning.
Why is he on fire?
I don't know. Probably something to do with Franklin.
The punishment in this world is rather fierce. You know, they make you jump off the shield wall that's containing 3 uninhabitable areas of Battleworld.
Yeah.
Does the shield wall have some...
one of 3 different atrocities in the Marvel Universe.
Does the shield wall have something to do with Sue Storm?
No, it's just a literal wall that's been built to wall off 3 areas that are very, very bad. A zombie area, the Annihilus Wave, and a bunch of Ultrons.
Symbiotes, too, apparently.
No,
that's part of Zombie World.
Zombie.
Okay.
You know, and then by the end of the second issue, they open the pod, and you expect a bunch of Marvel heroes to come popping out. No, they do fucking not.
Nope. It's the other guys.
Yep. It's the ultimate Reed Richards, Thanos, a couple of Thanos' minions, and the Black Swan.
Wasn't Submariner with them, too?
Yeah, he was. He's part of the Cabal. Part of Thanos' crew who is trying to figure out how to survive this mess. You know, just the fact that this crew is headed up by the Black Swan, Thanos, and Terrax, that's more than enough pants-crapping power you need right there. But add an evil Reed Richards into the mix, and this is a fucking bad mix.
Volatile is the term.
That's a good word to put it. God, the third issue has to do a whole lot with revelations. We find out that Doom and Strange actually do remember the prior world, and that Strange had just as much chance to become the god of this planet as Doom did.
Wow.
But declined to become the god.
What's Doctor Strange's power again?
Sorcerer Supreme, Master of all magics.
That's Doctor Strange just doesn't fit that to me. Should be wizard.
That would be the literal term.
But remember that, originally he was a surgeon, so Doctor Strange.
Yeah, fair enough.
And his name is actually Stephen Strange. It's not a nom de guerre. So they investigate the killed Thor, and then they find out that the Ultimate Spider-Man was hanging out in that raft that opened up.
Yep.
Now, is that the original Thor or just a Thor?
A Thor.
It was a Thor that looked a lot like Odin.
That's what I thought. Okay.
Just an aging Thor. The conversation between I guess you could say Susan Doom and Doctor Doom was pretty interesting.
Yeah. It almost makes you wonder if Doom has any regrets of any action he's done.
It sounds
Doctor
like
Doom?
Yeah.
It sounds like he's getting weary of trying to run things. That's always been the weird impetus of supervillains. They always want to run stuff, but they never actually want to run stuff. Then they find out how fucking tedious it is.
Yeah.
And it seems like he's hit that point where he's having, I don't want to say second thoughts, he just like to do it better than he has.
He realizes he sucks at it.
It also runs into that intellectual conundrum that a lot of people ask too. Can God make a stone so heavy he can't lift it? It looks like he's hitting that point.
Yeah.
Well, it only took him 8 years.
And it is still kind of an odd irony that he can do all this amazing stuff, but he still can't fix his own face.
Yeah.
So what's wrong with his face exactly?
He was disfigured in an explosion early on in the origins of the Fantastic Four, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, it was a project that both he and Reed Richards were working on.
Yeah. Another reason why he hates him. He blames Richards for the screw-up that screwed up his face.
Mm.
And he has tried everything technological and magical to fix it, and he just can't seem to ever get it to work.
It's weird.
Yeah, there have been times where his face has been fixed by accident, but he often ends up back under a grinder somehow. And so we also find out that although Doctor Strange is working very specifically and loyally to Doom, he has kept a secret from him for the last 3 years.
Yes.
He found the other raft.
Yep.
Yeah.
He just never bothered to open it because he couldn't understand it.
And
that's the one that actually...
Why couldn't he understand it?
Probably because technology is not his deal.
Yeah.
And the only person he could ask that would be smart enough to do it would be Valeria, who's definitely in Doom's camp in this planet.
Yep.
There aren't a whole lot of eggheads on this world.
There's Doom, but yeah.
Yeah, ask him to open it. See what he thinks.
Boom.
Yeah, but we have Lady Thor, Captain Marvel, Peter Parker, Spider-Man, Star-Lord. You'd think I think Stephen Strange did drop a brick when he saw Cyclops come out of that burning with Phoenix Force.
Yeah.
Yeah. He looked a little unnerved.
But
you gotta hand it though, Cyclops does seem to be in control of this one.
Yeah.
For now, I mean, it took a while for his morals to degrade. But
before he also had only 1/5 of it as well.
Yeah. But the huge problem that I foresee is, of course, the last occupant.
Reed?
Yeah.
Of course he's going to hate this.
Well, not to mention the fact that it's Crazy Reed who just watched all his family die, and now Doom is, with Susan Storm.
Yeah, thankfully we have the Black Panther in between. That helps a bit. But, yeah, to him, he just watched his family die, and he just learned that Dr. Doom is God, and Stephen Strange let him play God because, as Strange put it, he's good at it. Which is sick, but at the same time, extremely logical.
Well, and not to mention the conversation prior to that, where it was basically, yes, Strange could have been God. He didn't want it. There's only one other guy there, apparently, since we did rule out the Molecular Man. So, yeah, who else was there?
And the issue ends with a few pages of the Cabal sitting around a recent kill and a campfire trying to figure out where they are because nothing is right to them. And I like the fact that Thanos is the one who says the answers will find us. I know it. And Submariner looks at him and says, "How do you know that, Thanos?" Because
I'm looking
up. And there's all those Thors hanging around them, and you just know that Thanos is looking at that thinking, which one of you am I going to peel apart to find out what the fuck is happening here?
He's the only one actually thinking, and the other one is like, well, what the fuck?
Yeah, I know. And as a longtime comic reader, I saw that scene. I'm sure a lot of people think, "Ooh, you're in trouble." I just thought, "Oh fuck, that's a lot of death."
Yeah. That's a lot of dead hammers.
You know, I mean, for 3 issues, the hype around this series was tremendous before I started reading it, but it lives up to it, oddly enough. I didn't expect this to be that good. Because the premise is so weak of just a summer crossover in general, where obviously a lot of old Marvel concepts are being mashed up and retried, but unfortunately, the way this battle world is structured, it's fucking interesting.
I'll be honest, the transition from the first issue into the second, again, I did compare it to the beginnings of Titan AE, but I have another analogy, which is when Bambi's mother got shot, and then all of a sudden, happy music.
Bambi's mother?
Yeah.
I thought you were going to say Attack on Titan. The horrible shit happened. Now we're going to get to the story.
I haven't seen any Attack on Titan, so I can't make that reference. So.
I mean, what are you guys' opinions? Because I was blown away by this.
I'm going to continue reading this. I want to see where this goes.
It's like a train wreck, you know.
It's
gonna get. It's starting off bad. It's gonna get worse, but you do want to kind of find out how it ends.
Yeah.
What do you think, V?
I found the first part very confusing, but I liked the restructuring of the new world. It was interesting. I just wish I understood more context about what was going on with the characters.
For who
hasn't
been reading.
Well, after I read the first 3 issues and discovered how that went, I went backwards and started poking through a lot of the other stuff that had come out. I took a look at A-Force, X's for Extinction, Inferno. I took a look at a litany of the different spin-off books that are born as a result of this. The different and most of them seem to specialize in one area or another of Battle World. And a lot of those are retelling of a lot of classic Marvel properties and storylines. And when I say retellings, I don't mean they followed it word for word or certain characters was missing and this turned into a what-if scenario. This is almost like what if these different scenarios hadn't just played to their conclusion, but they continued playing. The Inferno one was especially weird in my taste because it was like a version of Dark Hope. The Inferno was a story in the 1990s. It was an X-Men crossover where a bunch of demons invaded Manhattan and took over and started to, make the whole thing look like a fucking Guillermo del Toro movie. But the whole thing ended when they rescued Colossus' sister, who was the MacGuffin of the series. This Inferno plays out as if they never got magic back. She fully became like a demon queen, and now the deal is Colossus works with Cyclops to patrol the borders of this particular area and keep everything safe. But for one day a year, they will actually take a team into this Inferno world and try to rescue magic all over again.
Huh.
Several attempts have resulted in losses, including Cyclops being relegated to a wheelchair. And Inferno picks up this being the last attempt Cyclops will sanction because they're losing too many mutants trying to patrol the borders. So it's just a 4-man squad of Colossus, Domino, Boom Boom, and Nightcrawler who go in. And almost as soon as they get in, Boom Boom has a hole through her chest and Nightcrawler's been captured by the Darkchild.
And they're fucked.
The second issue actually got better because Madeline Pryor stole Colossus, gave him the Soul Sword, and has promised her legions of goblins to rescue the Darkchild. In exchange, she gets the Throne of Inferno. And her not only that, her consort is with them, Alex Summers.
Oh, fuck.
Yeah. But the Darkchild has a secret weapon. She took out Nightcrawler's soul and has changed his body into that of a giant, flame-breathing, teleporting demon.
Oh, that's scary. That's kind of awesome,
Are you
actually.
kidding? Something took Boom Boom's body because even though she has a hole in her chest, she's still alive, and they want to stitch her up to feed her to something.
Oh, fun.
This whole thing is just fucking dark, and as much as I hate seeing these characters in pain, I'm intrigued. I'm just intrigued. But that's the weird part, is that the spin-offs are actually cool to read because, like I said, they're different takes on all these Marvel properties, and none of which are following a particular roadmap. they've tweaked all these stories and they're giving it another shot through a different lens.
Basically,
and
they're taking these stories and don't give them the, I'm not going to say happy ending, but good ending that we all wanted.
Well, it's not a remake. You know, all these events are now existing parts of Battleworld, including far-flung parts of the Marvel Universe, like the 2099 universe is part of Battleworld. Okay? The Civil War is part of Battleworld. Shit like that. You know, the Civil War, as if it played out. It didn't end with Captain America surrendering. They kept fucking fighting.
There's a lot of dead bodies.
Yeah, that's the other part of this is interesting, is that it's not like just one character has been returned in one form to one part of the world. There's multiple versions of characters running around. That's why you wonder if Doom is getting god fatigue. There's several different versions of Steve Rogers running around this planet right now.
I missed that, apparently.
It's not something you get in the main book. You get it by reading the other event books going on. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Now
it's like I counted like 3 different Cyclopses, not counting the ones that are dead anyway. But there are different versions of him running around. But because these parts of Battleworld are so firmly sectioned off, I doubt they run into each other. It's illegal to cross borders without strict permission by Doom, apparently.
Not that they don't do that, which was kind of what ended up happening with the whole Sinister Braddock thing.
Right. It happens once in a while, but there's still rules against that for the most part. You have to have strict permission to cross borders, which is probably how these characters are not interacting. I don't even know how many of them are aware that each other exists, other than the ruling barons, I would imagine. But the other thing that hit me, and that's probably the brilliance of this series, is that whatever is going to be left after everything is done, whatever the new Marvel Universe is, it's going to be the old Marvel Universe with some additions. The question is, what are the additions?
Vestiges of at least the Ultimate and at least the
Ultimate. Well, that's not exactly what I'm talking about, because obviously a few surviving Ultimate characters will make it into regular Marvel canon now. But think about it this way. What version of Susan Storm is coming back?
Right.
That's the question I'm asking. We saw the regular 616 version disintegrated. When things are put back, it could be her, or it could be the Ultimate Susan Storm, who's about 18 years old and thinks of Reed Richards as a dick. Or it could be some new version that we haven't seen yet across Battleworld.
Well, the new version that we have seen, she's with Doom.
That's the one we have seen. I've seen 2 different versions of the Thing reading through the subcomics. So there could be something else going on there.
True. Well, and they've already said that they're canceling the Fantastic Four, right?
That series is already over, and we've seen the promo image from the new Marvel Now that shows the Thing in a Guardians of the Galaxy uniform.
Right.
I've also seen images that say that Johnny Storm is going to be dating Queen Medusa in the Uncanny Inhumans series.
That actually doesn't surprise me. He did date Crystal.
Still a bit weird. It's like he's dating up the ladder. It's a little bizarre. So, like I said, we could end up with new versions of old characters who are technically canon just because they may not realize that they've been put back that way. Does that make any sense?
Yeah.
Like the fact that Miles Morales may be a regular part of the Marvel Universe for no other reason than because people think he is. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And this just makes me wonder what versions of characters are going to be retained. What versions of the Avengers will be historical? What versions of the X-Men are coming back? Are we finally going to get a reason why Rachel Grey is there that doesn't involve 8 levels of time travel?
So, having read these first 3, I'm remembering back to the one of the covers showing Thanos fighting someone with another Infinity Gauntlet, or a black version.
Yeah, because I wonder if his son is still surviving as well. Thane had some unusual powers.
That's the thing is, I'm thinking the person wearing that gauntlet could be Reed Richards.
I don't know. It could be another character running around. I found out in reading the synopses that the Red Skull is an urban legend that Doom sends a team of supervillains to go find out if he actually exists out there.
Really?
Yes. And when I say villains, I mean like Magneto, Mystique, and a lot of other notable supervillains he sends out as a team to investigate the Red Skull Society.
Huh.
There is a crap ton of weird stuff happening here. And it's actually, I find, really hard to describe because there's just so much randomness in this world. I am enjoying the hell out of it, though. I really didn't think I would based on all the hype we read, but this has been very fucking intriguing. I even read the Spider-Man Renew Your Vows. That was weird.
Right, I heard about that one.
Yeah, the one where Spider-Man stayed married to Mary Jane, had a daughter.
And did that massive retcon? Or
sort of. It actually made a bleaker world because Spider-Man was so concerned with his wife, who was being accosted by a recent breakout by Eddie Brock, that he didn't pay attention when the Avengers were calling for help. The Avengers and the X-Men are dead at the hands of one new villain. One guy who created this armored suit that copied the powers of the X-Men to the point where he was able to teleport away the hands of the Hulk and had optic blasts that could outdo Cap's shield and shit like that. And because Spider-Man was unavailable dealing with his own shit, the Avengers died, and this guy now runs Manhattan.
And he was so pivotal because of what?
Probably because Spider-Man's usually the outsider looking in. He usually finds the unusual way through to the end of a problem. The man is a super genius, after all.
Yeah, and he's got that spider sense, too.
Yeah. But he wasn't available, and now he may be the only superhero left. Except he's not in webs anymore. Because of what happened to his daughter, he was so freaked out, he killed Eddie Brock and took off his costume. He's now living under this dystopia with his family.
Damn.
There's going to be further issues. Obviously, this is going to go somewhere. But I read Years of Futures Past, too, the first issue of that, the continuation of Days of Futures Past. That was fucking weird. Read the first issue of Armor Wars.
Armor
You remember yeah, it's a story where Baron Tony Stark is dealing with his own section of Battleworld that has a virus in it. It's so virulent and deadly that everybody in this area has to have a suit of armor that filters the air, otherwise they can't survive.
Damn.
I flipped through Future Imperfect, where a bunch of future versions of Marvel heroes are trying to take on the Maestro Hulk, including the daughter of Emma Frost and Scott Summers, Ruby. Yeah, Ruby Quartz skin, fires optic blast, stuff like that.
Interesting.
Yeah, there's a whole bunch of weird takes on a lot of different stuff here. So, it's hard for people to jump into, admittedly, but I am fucking digging this. I'm really curious to see what happens when it all shakes loose, though.
Yeah, I mean, seeing the other stories and everything is going to be interesting, but it's really going to be how it ends up. That's going to be the true test.
Yeah. Yeah, this is definitely going to have lasting results in the Marvel Universe to come, but the question is what those results are going to be. If it's just going to be, it never happened, that's a fucking waste of time.
Massive cop-out.
Yeah. I really hope it's not something that simple and stupid. So I'm waiting with bated breath, though. This has been cool. And, like I said, I don't know if I could hand it off to just anybody looking to get into comics.
Yeah, no way.
Well, possibly, because although it's not the easiest jumping on point for people who haven't read for a while, it's a pretty concise crash course. You're going to learn a lot in a short amount of time.
True, and reading it from this point, it would probably make it easier to...
You're going to understand the foundation of the new world if you read the mini.
That's the thing.
This may be a better jumping on point than I had originally considered. It would just...
I just wish they would have, like, pop-ups over character. Like, if this was put on the internet, I would put, like, pop-ups on the character so I could hover over it and be like, okay, who is this person again?
Yeah. Like I said, it would be a struggle, but it might be a worthwhile struggle.
Oh, they do.
Or actually, I would say it probably would be a worthwhile struggle. This would be a good point to get in.
They have a cast of characters at the beginning of each issue.
I know, but I
It's just a bunch of names, though. That doesn't tell you a whole lot.
Yeah.
You would know what you're looking at. You still wouldn't have context behind it.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still a bunch of spin-offs like Captain Marvel and the Carol Corps and the Infinity Gauntlet that are out that I need to catch up on. I've heard one of the biggest surprises was MODOK Assassin. That giant baby-headed thing is one of the top assassins in Battle World. I'd like to know how that occurred. So, what do you guys think?
Not bad.
Definitely one I'm going to continue.
Yeah, I'm definitely interested in seeing where this goes.
I wish there were more Star-Lord because his lines were hilarious. Like, everything he said was funny.
Well, believe it or not, he actually stars in one of the spin-off series, Star-Lord and Kitty Pryde.
I would...
That is a pairing that still just makes me cringe.
It's not quite the woman he just proposed to, though. Kitty Pryde just said before the world was ending that she would marry him. It appears that the regular 616 Star-Lord with all the memories from the regular Marvel Universe, he finds Kitty Pryde, except the one he finds is the one from the Age of Apocalypse.
Oh, wow.
Oh, damn.
The Age of Apocalypse Kitty Pryde carried a set of claws similar to Wolverine and was fucking homicidal.
Okay.
You know, not much of a lady, more of a trained killer.
Gotcha.
And she can still phase through things?
Oh, God, yes.
So she was an awesome assassin then.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, she was definitely the spiritual successor to Wolverine's claws with all the attitude to match.
Nice.
And she was used to murdering people that got in her way just because that's how you survived in the Age of Apocalypse.
Yeah. Now, did she only have one set of claws, or was it like a double set?
I remember one set specifically on her...
thought. Because she probably has the claws of the hand that got blown off.
Well, no, it's not like she implanted the claws. She carries a couple bracers, I think, on both arms that replicate the claws.
Oh, okay.
You know, Wolverine from the Age of Apocalypse, he lost a hand, but he didn't lose the claws. They were retracted at the time.
Yeah, the hands... That arm's
the hand's gone, the claws are still there.
Oh, I didn't realize the claws were still there.
Yeah. Oh, I read that series way back in the day. The one I think all of us should probably read is that there will be one special in regards to Secret Wars of Giant Size Little Marvel AVX.
What?
The Avengers and X-Babies are going to go at it again.
Okay. The babies? What?
Yeah, no, okay, so there's this extra-dimensional being called Mojo. He looks like this...
No, it's not them.
Oh, it's not those X-Babies?
It's not the literal ones. There's an artist named Scotty Young who draws childlike versions of a bunch of characters. And this is an area of the world where a bunch of characters who are pretty much toddler versions of the major Avengers and X-Men constantly fight it out.
Okay.
What?
Imagine like almost a G version of the Marvel Universe, I think.
Okay.
So is it kind of like the battle form in Nekotama or Edotama?
Oh, God.
Closer, but much smaller.
Oh, great.
Think of it as one of the times I've seen them walking around. There was a very small baby Cable, complete with the cybernetics and the eye thing, but he was still carrying a pacifier. He was so young compared to them. And the picture is kind of hilarious because at the top is Mohawk, Storm, and Thor seem like getting into a lightning fight, but towards the middle, there's Wolverine from the X-Men looking confused because there's Wolverine from the Avengers staring him down. You know, and for fuck's sake, Beast looks like he just escaped from the Pound Patrol.
Oh, God.
What, is he a puppy?
He looks like one, yes, complete with the growling, the little black nose, and just this weird expression on his face.
I gotta read this one.
Yeah, these Scotty Young books are always a trip. But, yeah, I would hand this off to other people. I enjoy this.
Yeah,
and
if recommend it to people that I know do comics.
Well, if I had to make a recommendation, I'd say the first issue of A-Force is actually very good. The all-ladies Avengers team that's formed as a result of this. The Baron She-Hulk has to run an island paradise that's ruled and run by women.
Huh.
And I mean, the initial team that's assembled here, Miss America Chavez, the X-Men's Pixie, Jean Grey in Green Phoenix outfit, Dazzler, Medusa from the Inhumans, and Lady Loki.
Lady Loki.
Oh.
Lady Loki. Oh, and Nico Minoru from the Runaways. Sister Grimm. It's a who's who of rather powerful female characters from Marvel. Captain Marvel's in it too, actually. It was well written and well drawn. I would actually recommend it as a good place to find out more about some of the stronger female characters from Marvel. But I think we've tooled on too long. Yeah, I would hand this off to most people curious about comic books, though. That would be me. We have one more week before we have to do a pregame when it comes to Comic-Con.
Yep.
So, any recommendations for what we should read next week? Because I got one idea.
I'm drawing
I have
blank.
one that might bring some groans.
Which frequently do. What you got?
Well, we read the Marvel one while I was thinking about reading the DC one.
I would rather get into an 8-issue long Convergence after we get back from Comic-Con and have a chance to decompress a bit.
Okay.
That's a lot of reading. And that's on something we have less context for than the regular Marvel Universe.
True.
My suggestion would be to read the first 4 issues of an independent book that I've heard a lot about, The Wicked and the Divine. You recall we talked about this a couple times?
I don't remember it
I
offhand.
have to refresh my memory.
The Wicked and the Divine is an interesting story where 2 women find out that they are the avatars of good and evil. But the problem is they don't know which one they are.
That could be interesting.
Yeah, that does sound interesting.
Yeah, could you imagine finding out you are the avatar of good or evil, and now you have to figure out if you're good or evil?
I know which one I'd pick.
I know which one you are, too.
Well, I think that is kind of what it comes down to in a way is, you're the avatar of good and evil, but it's your actions that define as such, so it's kind of what you choose.
Maybe.
Yeah. I've heard it's sexual. It has some sexual content in it. It has some violence, but I've also heard that it is a very well written character study. So I'd like to know if it lives up to that. All right. So 4 issues, something simple. Sound like a plan?
Sure.
1 through 4. All right. So next week it's The Wicked and the Divine. Thank you very much for tuning in. I invite you to roll with us again next week. We are coming dangerously close to all hanging out in San Diego and wondering how tired we can get. Have a great one. I am Jeremy.
Steve.
Jesse.
And V.
Don't jerk and drive. Thank you very much.
You know, Jeremy, I'm surprised you didn't bring up the announcement that Chris Hemsworth's going to be in the next Ghostbusters.
I was not aware of that.
Yeah, he's going to be
That'll
the
make me watch that.
No, you won't watch a bit of that. You'll sit there just frigging yourself in the middle of the movie theater.
Maybe.